Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Mad Mamluks. I'm Mahin and I'm joined by my co-hosts Sheikh Amr Saeed, Sim, and Mort. And on today's show, we are blessed to be graced with the presence of someone who's very well known to the community here in North America and around the world, Baba Ali, the well-known comedian, and also the same gentleman who runs founder of halfardeen.com. So Baba Ali, thank you so much for coming through, and we're here in Houston, Texas in our hotel room and, you know, having a chance to chat with you. So appreciate you coming through.
Awesome. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I'm really happy to be here. First time meeting you guys, and amazing podcast. I can't believe that this is such an amazing success, and I'm really, really excited to be here.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
So go ahead. So, you know, I think people know, a lot of times they know your story. You know, you're of a Persian background, right?
Yeah.
And then, but you weren't Muslim originally.
Yes.
And then you converted to Islam.
Yeah.
For those of people who don't know, can you give us a quick, two-minute summary of your background?
I wish it would be so easy and so simple, but my story is kind of weird and funny, and actually it's part of my stand-up comedy set.
Okay.
And people end up laughing. So it's not like if someone gave me a Quran and, wow, mashallah, I had a teardrop and said, okay, I want to become Muslim.
Right.
It was the exact opposite. In fact, I say, alhamdulillah, Allah showed me Islam before he showed me the Muslims. And the rest of it is the history. So in a short summary, I was a kid that grew up with absolutely no religion whatsoever. Parents basically hid religion away from me. The people who grew up rich in the part of Iran, they were very secular. And the people who were poor were very religious. So when we came to America, we came here on vacation. And the revolution broke out. We ended up staying. So my parents didn't teach me much about Islam, actually nothing about Islam. And when they found out I became Muslim, they kind of freaked out. So that was a really awakening moment. It took my mom 3 years just to accept the fact that I'm Muslim, and took like even more years than that until one day I found out she's actually Muslim. So she accepted Islam a few years ago.
Oh, mashallah.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
So I didn't preach to her. I didn't give her, oh, here's a copy of the Quran, nothing like that. Instead, I just said, let me do something different. Let me show what being a Muslim will be like.
Wow.
So I'm going to act like what Islam teaches, as what a son would treat his mother.
Awesome.
And let the actions of Islam speak, instead of me saying, oh, the ayah says this and the Quran says this. So, okay, what if all that says, what are you doing? So I said, okay, I got to show her through actions.
So was there a certain type of behavior you had pre-Islam with your family, and
yes.
after Islam they saw the
Terrible.
difference? Really?
Terrible, yeah.
Allahu Akbar, man.
Yeah, so I was one of the worst kids. In fact, when I went to go learn about Islam, and I went to an Islamic camp, this was a place I went to go learn about Islam. They told me years later, we had a lot of bad kids at the Islamic camp. By far, you were the worst ever.
Really? Wow.
In fact, if it didn't snow that mountain that time, because the Islamic camp was in the mountains and it was snowing at that winter time, we would have put you on a bus by itself and send you back. Normal kids are not bad, and sometimes the kids in the middle, they don't go bad unless they have a bad influence. You took the good kids and made them bad. Forget the kids in the middle.
But so, I think you made up for it now, man. You made everybody understand Islam in a nice way.
Baba, when a lot of us start practicing Islam, we have parents who don't practice that much. Even though we were born into Muslim families, we experience the same kind of backlash. I remember when me and Sheikh Amr started practicing the religion, we got some fierce blowback because we were starting to correct our parents in some of their practices, and we're like, no, this isn't really part of Islam, and your understanding of the religion is wrong in this aspect. We were young and energetic and really eager to tell our parents the correct understanding of Islam as we understood it when we were 19, 20 years old. And we got that similar type of blowback where they're like, who the hell are you? Like, you're a little punk kid. I changed your diapers a few years ago. Like,
yeah.
And all of a sudden, you kind of feel like, wait, I'm religious and I'm practicing and I'm trying to tell you something good, and you don't want to accept it. Like, and then there's an internal struggle that occurs because of your immaturity.
Yeah, my 5-year-old daughter's doing that to me right now.
But
I'm serious. I got a story for you.
But until we changed ourselves and our parents saw that we had really in fact changed, that's when they started taking what we said more seriously, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So the story. So my daughter's 5 years old. She's turned 5 back in July, right? So people who listen to this podcast know that I follow a madhab of Imam Malik, and the Malikis. A lot of the Malikis, they pray with their hands set aside, like sadl. which is called sadl. And so I'm praying with my hands at the side. My daughter will come up to me and she'll like grab my arms and like wrap them up.
I love it.
So you have the haram police at home. That's cool.
Yeah, right. I mean, they start them young. I was like, must be these, these teachers at school teaching this way, right? Yeah. You know, I gotta like, I started to Islamic school, so I don't gotta do anything. And now now they're making me work, right? Because I got, you know what I'm saying? But like, so your project, Hafardeen, it's really interesting timing that we have you on at this time, because just a couple of days ago we did a YouTube live with a good friend of ours, Fahim Farouk. He's a brother from Toronto. He's a young cat, 25, single, but runs like he runs like a men's like a
life
coach kind of stuff.
Focus 180.
You know, yeah, he's doing a lot of good work. Really mature 25-year-old kid, but single. And we were just trying to get an understanding of the landscape of how it is for a single guy in this day and age, right? Because us here, we've been in the marriage game for a while now, but and we didn't have Hafardeen. I remember. So there is is Practimate still around?
When we were young, we had Nasib.
Nasib?
No, we had AOL chat.
AOL chat.
You guys are revealing your ages, man.
Yeah. Well, everyone was talking about, no, but you're actually right. I think the first actual like
organized
hookup, or was like Nasib.com.
Yeah.
And I think they used to actually organize like ISNA like meetups, right? And I think
really?
like, yeah, huh?
Did they really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. They actually had like an ISNA meetup, but I remember when I actually first went to that, like I used to post on there. At that time, I had become like just like into my religion. I was posting like, oh, like I was the haram police on the blog. I was like, oh, you can't do that. That's haram. So I went to the meetup because there was other guys that were there, and I realized that like that Muslims that wanted to get married, but they thought they were one way online, and when they met, like they were just completely different, and like it ended up being like this entire fiasco, like in the middle of the ISNA lobby, like you're not who you are, you know?
That's like Muslim catfish?
Yeah, but exactly. That was the first time I heard of that. Like apparently like there was like stories of like, just crazy stories. I don't want to get into it, but crazy stories about like, how people thought they were somebody else. And when they met, they were just completely different people. And I think it put a lot of people off about like trying to find a spouse online, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think now with Half Your Deen, a lot of that's kind of changed now.
So I'll tell you guys my story. When I was looking to get married, I didn't know how to find my other half. I didn't know which website worked. And you talk about Nasib.com. We had a lot of these weird. The websites don't even exist today. So I wasn't sure which website worked. So I joined all of them, and I put a very specific profile that said if some sisters read it, they'll be offended. That's how specific the profile was. I wasn't even looking for a sister who was thin. I said I'm looking for a fast metabolism. So I want you to be able to eat whatever you want to eat and then lose. I was like, it was crazy. It was very offensive.
Why is it offensive?
Because some sisters, who are you to judge and this and that?
Oh,
like
boy.
some sisters, especially in the politically correct world
Those
we
are
live
the
in
people
today.
who don't have the fast metabolism. Right?
But
anyways, go ahead.
Hey, we're with the comedian, okay?
Yeah.
We can make these kind of jokes.
So
Yeah, I forgot
I was
about that.
very specific, but I told him like this is all the stuff I will do for you. So this is what I'm looking for, and this is what you're gonna get in a husband. This is what I can offer you as a husband. So I was waiting for one sister, because I said, look, a whole bunch of people are gonna be offended, but if one sister responds to this, I am good. 17
that's
people
smart.
responded. 17. I was like, man, these people are lying to me, because nobody is gonna fit these. So I said, okay, these websites don't work. I need to come up with a new system. So I sent a bunch of girls. I sent all the girls actually a series of questions that didn't have right or wrong answers, and all the girls answered it. One of them answered it correctly. That's the one I married 17 years ago.
Wait, so you actually created like a system, like a fail-safe system in an email format, like in response to them,
Yes.
and they would fill out basically a questionnaire?
Yes.
But
Wow,
not
that's
yes or
pretty
no
impressive.
questions, right?
They were
Open-ended?
questions that don't have right or wrong answers.
And did they know that they were talking about Baba Ali or no? In the
This
beginning?
is before I was famous.
Nobody
This was
knew.
5 years before. This was
Yeah.
5 years
Right.
before I was
All right.
famous.
So the skeptic in me will say, Baba, hang on. I'm sure that worked for you. You're one out of many people. Human beings are not a monolithic creation. Your questionnaire may have certainly worked in your situation, but it may not work in other people's situation. Why don't you give apps like Minder a chance?
All right, I'm swiping left real quick. So what's gonna happen is I came back and my friend's like, how'd you meet this girl? I said, I came with these questions. Can't see those questions. I gave him the questions. He got married. He has 3 kids right now. Next guy, can I borrow those questions? I'm like, dude, I should build a website. He was my first success story. Now we have around 1,800 success stories. And we use questions to figure out who's a match and who's not. And the trick behind it is questions that don't have right or wrong answers. I'll give you guys an example. If I asked you guys, what does the world need more of? Do we need more justice or do we need more mercy? What would your answer be?
Justice.
And what would you guys say?
I say justice.
Mercy.
I'm a little problematic. I'll tell you why. I no, just listen.
But between those two words,
pick one.
You're overanalyzing.
You have one answer.
There's only one answer.
Choose one. Justice.
Okay, so we have justice and mercy, different answers. 4 guys who know each other, but they come with different answers. But there's no right or wrong answer.
No, there's too many liberals.
Reason I asked you this
They have
question,
mercy where there was too much mercy.
I was actually I was asking you really a different question. The real question I was asking you is, are you more fair or more forgiving? And look at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's 99 names. 2 of them is the most just and the most merciful, or most forgiving. And that's really, there's no right or wrong answer. These are 2 of Allah's names. So it's good to be just and it's good to be merciful. So then I ask you the question, how would your ideal match answer this question? You want a girl who's more fair or more forgiving? My wife is more fair, while my friend's wife is more forgiving. Everyone has a different preference. Now, the girl I'm speaking to has no idea what my correct answer is.
Yeah.
Like, I'll ask a tough question that people cannot answer easily. Like,
But would you want a spouse that is like, let's just say you're forgiving and your spouse is forgiving? I don't think that's a good match. I think.
no, I think it's whatever your preference is.
No, I think.
But it's just based on answer. It doesn't mean they're completely mercy all the time.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
just means
It says
that's
a
the
little
word
bit
that
more.
they chose. A word you choose on a question is kind of indicates where the direction
It's like
is
a
going.
general
Okay.
feeling, right?
Yeah, it's like
Pretty much.
55-45,
Oh, okay.
60-40. And when I say you're just, doesn't mean, okay, these guys, no
We're
mercy
only
in
about
this
justice. We
room.
don't care about anything else.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's why he had a tough time. Like, okay, I'm in the middle kind of. Most people are in the middle, but it's like 60-40 or 70-30.
Thank you. Made me
I'm
feel better
thinking from
because
the
they didn't like that I
perspective
said that.
of, you know, the notion of, opposites attract, and
Yeah.
you should get, if you're going to be the merciful person, you should get a justice person just to make the chemistry.
No, I think in other attributes, maybe
Yeah.
opposites attract, maybe personality types, and
Right.
I can discuss that with you guys too.
Yeah.
But when I asked those questions, I jumped and I'll give you another question I asked. You can ask is like, what's the toughest thing for you to follow in Islam and why? I mean, these are hard questions that people don't really think about.
Oh, that's pretty easy.
What's your toughest thing for you to follow in Islam?
Being, wait. I'm not sure.
It's easy, no problem.
No, guys, maybe it's something he
silence.
doesn't want to reveal in front of the people.
It's like, wait a second, this is being recorded.
So basically, wife
Can I
number
answer for
2,
him?
pay attention.
My wife.
Can I answer
My
for
wife
him?
listens. Go ahead.
My wife listens, okay?
Cheating on his wife.
No. Astaghfirullah, man. I can't believe you would think of that of me.
Hey, like you said, we're talking
Hey.
a comedian, right?
Hey, I mean, I was just
These
guessing.
are your jokes, man. These are not my jokes. For the disclaimer up for all
You know what
people
they say,
watching.
right? There's always some truth to jokes, right? So
No, you
No.
see, Baba Ali, mashallah, your jokes are clean, and you make the audience laugh their heads off.
Alhamdulillah.
Which
I
is
don't-
very
I don't-
difficult to do in our time.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
because we're not comedians, we have to be vulgar to make people laugh.
Well, way before Allah made some people kind of funny, there was Baba Ali.
Man, you guys are getting me in trouble.
So Baba Ali, look, those of you who are listening, after that comment Maheen made, thank you very much, sir. He just put kind of his hand on his temple, and now he's thinking of an exit strategy because
Yeah, I mean, you guys are getting me in trouble, man. I know the comedians. And, Ali,
Hey, turn around and look up
Again,
there.
my
It's called-
disclaimer.
It's called the Mad Mamluks, all right?
They're crazy. But guys, you know one thing I think we have to incorporate with some non-Muslim comedians, obviously they go overboard, but they have to understand a comedian is a comedian. Comedians should be able to say, obviously with Muslims, they shouldn't get into haram stuff, and I don't think they should be vulgar. But even if you were to roast another comedian, it should be understood that, hey, it's because he's a comedian. It doesn't really mean it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I don't
in
even
the
do
comedy
that.
world, comedians are very jealous of each other, so
That's true.
it's very, very careful. I mean, he can.
But not with the
Baba
Muslim
can tell
world,
us a
inshallah,
lot.
right?
Okay.
Baba, can you tell us a little bit about that? Are there a lot of jealous comedians in the Muslim?
They're competitive, but I don't think they're just. Actually, believe it or not, a lot of the comedians I get along with, but I'm almost feel like I'm the black sheep with.
He's a different type of comedian, though. I'm not just saying that because you're here.
I'm weird, bro. My sense of humor. If I don't think comedians I don't get it, but the audience connects with me. It's like when I did my videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
I sat in a chair in my daughter's room. There's no.
I was
green
I
screen.
was like, dude, I wonder what this is. Because I was like, dude, that's like a painted wall, off-white
You
wall.
move the camera 6 inches this way, and it's like a bed. And
No
then
way!
it's like children's
That is
toys.
so cool.
It's like a blank screen. When
What a G.
I tell you how many people have come to my place. Guy from Google came. New York Times came. Says, "Where do you film? Where do you film?" Right there.
No.
Right there in the kids' room? Yeah, the kids' room. Like, it's not even like a studio.
Not
it's
even
like
your room, bro? It's
No,
your kids' room?
I had to just find a empty piece of the wall. That's the only reason I filmed in her room.
Dude,
the only
that
piece
is
without a
impressive.
picture frame on it, and just record real quick. And
That's
just
dude, bro. You know what? The one thing we can learn from that is if you want something to get done, you can do it anywhere. You don't
Yeah.
have to have anything spectacular. You don't have to have a green screen. You don't
Bro,
have to
and
be
I'm
fancy.
telling you, I'm nobody. And when I started doing my videos, I was the first Muslim video blogger. There's no Muslim. I searched for 3 days. I couldn't find anybody. So I didn't know what to do. So I said, look, I'm going to try something different. Instead of saying they're talking, let me just move around. Instead of talking for like 30 minutes, I had a sandwich today and the other day. I was like, who cares? It's just in 5 minutes and talk. Let me take the 1 hour khutbah and summarize in 5 minutes. I sit in khutbahs and I'm like, why is he talking for an hour? Yeah. Like he's repeating the same thing in 10 different ways. I could summarize this in 5 minutes. Yeah. So I summarized it in 5 minutes and I didn't invent anything new. That's why I said I'd remind you just in case you forgot. Yeah. And I said, okay, I'm about to tell the Muslims what they don't want to hear. And a lot of people are going to hate me. And it was the exact opposite. I was surprised. My first video, I get famous people starting to contact me. And my first video, like I have a couple hundred views. And when the first 13th person to contact me was this guy, Maz Drabani.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, this guy watches me? And there's a guy, then television stations start contacting me. And I got invited subhanAllah, from this show, from these videos, I've been done shows in front of 40,000 people. The royal family has contacted me. Wow. Someone says, come perform for 10 minutes for us. Yeah. Someone so invited. I was like,
and
what?
The first video you made, was this around what, like
2006.
2006.
Yeah, it was July 2006. 19
I
what?
thought it was the end of the 90s.
Well, how old am I, guys? Might as well call me grandpa.
You gotta forgive Sheikh Amr. Sheikh Amr was gone for 11 years.
Sheikh Amr has been in Egypt for a long time.
No, that's not what it is. No, it seems like a long time.
He's like a time traveler.
No, it seems like a really long time to me. You know what I'm saying?
It was a long time. It was like 12 years ago, guys.
You know, mashallah, Sheikh Amr is a well-traveled talib al-ilm.
No,
he has multiple ijazah in Islam. And
he does in Islam. That's a catch. But so one thing I want to know is, like, you are a comedian and you make people laugh and you talk about real things. You're not vulgar. You know how to attract people. Your videos spoke volumes. How did you incorporate that with halfyourdeen.com? Like, where does that connect? Is there a connection?
So what happened is, I'll tell you. Let me rewind a little bit. I was a guy who used to invent board games. I was making board games, and the games sold worldwide. And I was actually at ISNA one year, and I rented 2 booths, and I just put 1 game, and I filled up the booths with just 1 game. And everyone would walk by and say, what is going on here? Because they would see 20 people playing the game. They were playing, so many people were playing, they were sitting on the floor playing. And I would stand in front of the booth, and I would say, excuse me, brother? He says, yes. When was the last time you saw this many people playing a Muslim board game? And he would shake his head and say, never. Come, let me show you. And I would show him how to play the game, and he'll sit down, he'll play. The next person, excuse me, yes. When was the last time you saw 21 people playing this board game? Dude. And then one guy walks by and says, I have a television station. You want to come and do this on TV? Talk about your game on TV? I said, for free? So yeah, fly you down, you come down and do all this stuff. So I flew down, did the show. And while I was there, the guy started talking to me, and I said, what? I said, wow, this is a studio? This is a camera? Man, forget games. I can change the world. I just need a camera. So I flew back and I said, let me make videos for Ummah, for the Muslims. I called Ummah Films. Yeah. I come back, buy a bunch of equipment. I put almost all my savings into it. I don't know anything about cameras. I found a Muslim director, Muslim filmmakers. I said, guys, you guys have always been talking about movies and films. Here's $10,000 worth of equipment. Take it, go make a movie. He says, thank you, brother. 3 months later, what'd you guys make? Yeah, we'll show you the footage. They show me 8 seconds of footage, and this guy is eating cereal, and his sister's walking in the background. I'm like, give me my camera equipment back. So you guys are useless. Yeah. So I grabbed all this equipment. I'm like, what am I gonna do with it? I don't know how to even use this stuff. I don't know how to use this $5,000 camera. Yeah. So I put it in my daughter's room. I'm set up the tripod. I'm like, I gotta go to Jummah. I go to Jummah. The guy's giving me the same khutbah, the same boring thing. It's like,
I wish you guys can see his face.
Oh man, to tell you, it's like repeating over and over. I'm like you talk about wudu khutbah. I'm like, dude, if we don't know how to make wudu, in 20 minutes, these guys are in trouble. Because these are like 90 years old. They've been praying. They know how to make wudu. Why are we doing wudu khutbahs? I go back to home. I'm like, I know what I'm going to talk about. I turn on the camera and I talk about Jummah. All the funny things that happen in Jummah. Yeah. I sent to a couple of friends. They sent to more friends, sent to more friends. Eventually, 100 videos later, 20 million views. And I tell people, if I knew this many people were watching, I would actually dress nicer. I'm dressed in sleeping clothes because most of these videos are filmed in the middle of the night while my wife is sleeping. Because I'm so camera shy and so stage fright that I don't let anyone watch me film. I film privately.
That's pretty dope.
Isn't that crazy? Like,
That's dope.
just speaking from my perspective, like a lot of us who are in entertainment, just in comedians and entertainers, they all deal with this same level of anxiety and stage fright, and and then they end up going into that world.
Oh, bro, let me tell you how it happened. So most people, they love stand-up comedy. They watch stand-up comedy. In my entire life, I've been to one stand-up comedy show in the 1990s. I don't like stand-up comedy. I don't watch it. So what happened was I did these videos on YouTube. They got popular. People kept inviting me. They thought I was a really funny entertainer. And I kept telling people, no, this is, I'm stage fright. Oh, you're being humble. You're being humble. I'm like, no, I'm not being humble. I really can't talk in front of people. I really can't. I can't talk in front of my wife. No, mashallah. I'm like, no, stop saying mashallah. I can't. One sister, Northern California, convinced me, wouldn't take no for an answer. And I hung up and I said, what did I just agree to? I'm supposed to go talk live. It's okay. So it'd be like 20 other guys. They wants me to give a speech. At that point, I wasn't even a comedian. And I go there and I'm like, I get there. I'm like, okay, what's going on? He says, oh yeah, they're showing a film by this game named Hassan Manhaj, the guy who's famous now.
Manhaj, yeah.
He's doing a short film. Oh, I knew him before he was famous. And we became friends before he was famous.
Oh, wow.
And we used to go to the same masjid.
Wow.
So North Hollywood masjid. So what happened was that they were showing his film and then you're going to give a talk. I'm like, wait, who's the main speaker? So you are. What? No, I'm not a speaker. I thought I was just going to do like 5 minutes. No, everyone's here to see you. There's 250 people here. They paid or whatever. I'm like, oh, well, this is crazy. So I get up on stage. I have notes that I wrote and my hands are shaking so much that I can't even speak. I can't even read it. And I remember it was just one big blur. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, I threw the thing. I'm like, I literally threw the papers. I said, guys, I'm not a public speaker. And they started laughing just like you just laughed. And I say, no, I'm really not public. And they kept laughing. And whatever I said, they kept laughing. So I would vent. I'm like, guys, let me tell you what happens. And they vent. And I walk off the stage. I'm like, this was the worst ever. And the guy walks up to me and says, that was hilarious. Can you do the same comedy act at our event next? I'm like, that wasn't comedy. He's like, he's still doing it. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. Since that day,
It was a big misunderstanding.
yeah, he's doing it. Misunderstanding. He's
You
hilarious.
know what this reminds me of? You ever heard of, like, Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Yeah.
Larry David?
that's what I was
Like, the guy who always gets shafted, he gets put in the situation he has to deal with.
Dude, this is my life. This is my life. So
That's hilarious.
since that day till today, I've done 350 shows around the world, and I'm not a professional comedian by any means. I don't go to comedy shows. I go on stage. I'm like, my friends make fun of me and says, dude, like I work with nasheed singers and other guys, and like, dude, we had to practice our songs. You just walk up and talk about your day, and you leave. You're dressed in jeans and a t-shirt like you're dressed right now. Literally, this exact same clothes I wear. I walk up and say, so let me tell you what happened the other day. And you walk off stage and they pay you? Yeah, I don't know. They laugh just like you guys are laughing right now. Like I don't know what they find so funny.
You know what it is though? I think there's some people who are just like, they have that personality where they could just be like, they can be on stage and do anything and people will laugh at them. Right?
Somebody,
Like,
they're laughing
comical.
at me.
Yeah. But you know what though? Some people like they enjoy that. Like they get by. Like, I mean, dude, there are plenty of people who say dumb things and they're not funny. Like I mean, I'm easily triggered by dumb things, right? I hate one of my peeves is like unintelligence, right? I mean, I get like, yes, guys, I rant about stuff all the time because I can't stand it, right? But there'll be every once in a while there'll be somebody who's just in his own nature, he's just comical the way he says something. Like he'll just say something like, "Oh my god, that guy's hilarious." Like he didn't even mean to be funny, but it's funny.
Gestures, facial expressions.
Yeah, like, and I think you have that natural charisma. Like,
Here's the funny thing: when I started making those YouTube videos, my wife, I said, "Did you watch the video?" No, I didn't get a chance. It's been a week. Yeah, I haven't been busy. Like none of my friends watch the videos. I thought, okay, this is terrible. Then I realized all these other people who don't know me watch and they think it's hilarious.
Happens to us, right?
Same thing happens to us.
It happened to us too.
And
Our friends, yeah.
Our friends don't listen to us, and when they tell me like, "Hey, I don't listen to your podcast," I'm like, "Thank you," because I use stories from our childhood, your stories
Right.
in the podcast, and it would make for an awkward moment when you realize that I'm talking about you in the podcast. Or Sheikh Amr,
Yeah.
remember some of the stories we bring up regarding some of our friends struggling with the faith? Like, man, if that friend was actually listening to the podcast, it would
Bro,
make
I can
for
tell
a
you
really awkward
who
moment.
watches the videos. I'm shocked. Like I would go through. Oh, I can tell you so many stories, man. I was going to a comedy show. Okay, my stand-up comedy. I do stand-up comedy, and I'm going out to the airport, and I'm going through customs, and I'm Canada. Are you Baba Ali? I'm like, yeah. Come with us. Well, okay. Mind if we take a picture? I'm like, what? I'm taking picture with security and I don't know if they're customs, border control, and me with a bunch of guys. And I'm standing there awkwardly, and they're all like arms around me. I'm like, is this a trick or am I being punked right now? What's this? It's like, am I going to jail? What am I doing? And they're fans of the show. I'm like, what? I go through TSA. Hey, it's Baba Ali. And I turn around, it's a TSA guy saying this to me. And I'm like, am I in trouble? And I randomly checked for the right reasons, I guess.
Yeah, same stuff happens to us at the airport. What happened to you with that one?
Oh yeah, so I was landing in Chicago. I was coming off, and I was talking to somebody on the phone, and some girl comes, "Hey, are you from the Mad Mamluks?" And I'm like, yeah, I think I recognize your voice in the phone." And I'm like, "Oh, wow, this is crazy! Like I'm traveling back to Chicago, you know." But just random stuff that happens like that. But here's one thing though, I kind of wanted to circle back to something, going back to like how you started off.
Yeah,
'cause I think a lot of Muslims have great ideas, and they have like these amazing, initiatives they want to do, but they're always afraid of just starting it off. Like they're always afraid, like, oh, I don't have the resources, I don't have the money.
I think the secret is right where you guys already have the answer. Look at you guys, 4 guys who know each other, who had an idea, and you pushed it, and you pushed each other to get this stuff done. Yeah. You have each other, and you support each other, and that's what it is. When I was making my first board game, it cost 18 grand to do it. I didn't have 18,000. I have a few $1,000s saved. So what I did is I made a prototype, showed it to some friends. Every single person I showed it to, they're like, dude, this is really good. Can I invest in this? I said, yeah. And I said, look, you want to invest? You want to invest? You want? 6 people invested. We raised we had $18,000 together. I said, guys, we all take a fair share out of this. We all took, based on how much you invested, you get that cut. That game made it like a 26% return. Even haram interest doesn't get you 26% interest. And they're all like, what's the next project? And I made so much money off of that. I made my second game by myself with my wife. And that sold more games in 1 month than the other game made in a year. Wow, mashallah. So, and then from there, I raised more money. So being surrounded with the right people is the answer to that.
And not being afraid of failure, I think, right?
Yeah, if that's one of the questions of the marriage question. If you couldn't fail, what would you do? And it's actually a trick question because you shouldn't be afraid of failure. Whatever's stopping you, it's like, okay, if I wasn't afraid of failure, I would start a podcast. That's no excuse. You should be starting the podcast right now. Yeah. Nothing. So it's being around the right people who have the right mindset to push you. Because you said, my friends don't even listen to me. Yeah. Well, these guys that are sitting around you not only listen to you, but they're with you and they're on the mic and doing this with you. And that tells you a lot about who has your back.
And you know what's funny? You probably know this too, but once you do get kind of famous a little bit, maybe people are like, oh yeah, hey, I know this guy. Like, you start saying, hey, I know this guy.
Oh, okay. Let me tell you something funny that you guys share with you guys I've never shared so far. So this is exclusive for you guys.
Thank you.
So a majority of the time, people walk up to me, hey, Baba Ali, how you doing? Long time. I feel so bad that I have absolutely no idea who this person is. This happens about 80% of the time.
It happened in the lobby right now when we were coming in.
Hey, Ali, what's going on? You saw this. What's going on? I was like, yeah, how's it going? So what I do is like, I quickly, instead of offending them, because I realize if I don't know who they are, they get offended. And they don't understand. I meet like 100,000 people. Yeah. I can't remember everybody. You remember me? When? Remember 2008? I'm like, dude, that's like 10 years ago. So now I have a way to get around it. They say, oh, Assalamu alaikum, brother. I say, hey, wa alaikum salam. Whatever they do, I take it up one more level.
Dude, this is Curb Your Enthusiasm on steroids.
They're like, how you doing? I'm like, no, how are you doing? I said, oh, you remember me? Bro, do you remember me? Baba Ali? Yeah, I remember you. Okay, good, man. I thought you forgot for a second. Then I hug him. And then I said, bro, how's it been? You're still in, are you moving or are you still in the same place? Say, yeah, I'm still in Chicago. Okay, good, cool, man. Because I'm in, you forgot where I was, do you? Yeah, no, I do. He actually feels bad. I forgot where you are. I'm in LA, dude. I'm in LA. Yeah, it's good. Don't worry, man. I know people forget sometimes. And I'm making this guy feel bad. I'm just playing along. We're talking for 10, 15 minutes. How are the kids? How are this? Da. And then he walks away. And my friend's like, who is that? I have no idea. This has happened at ISNA. Dude. At ISNA, my friend's like, you talked to the guy for 50. And the one guy walks in, dude, we had a 1.5 hour conversation. This was like a few months ago. This wasn't like years ago. And I yeah. Dude, and we just talked.
And you know what, though? That's why I came back to the booth 3 times. I'm like, hey,
you remember me?
100 people. You know what I mean? I'm going to make you remember me and take my number down and come and get a podcast.
He comes back with a t-shirt, the business card. They're like, hey, you remember?
No, that's important. It's actually leads to my next point, why you should have your wife handle a lot of your contacts, because I started having this same problem where people are just approaching me saying that, hey, we had this conversation, talking about the podcast, people coming on. I can't keep track of anyone anymore.
Bro, let me tell you, my wife
I'm just having my wife take care of everything.
Keeps me super humble, right? No matter how many views, no matter how much stuff that happens, she'll watch me, people taking pictures with me at, like I was at ISNA one time. All these people were lined up taking pictures. And my wife's like this, you guys know this is the guy who takes out the trash at our place and cleans diapers, right? It's hilarious. Like, why you guys, this guy cleans diapers? My wife is zero, like, I met her for the first time. The first time I ever met my wife, she was sitting on a park bench. I had a nice halal gap. I was standing up. She was sitting down. And after 20 minutes of speaking to her, I took out my video camera. And she was like, what's that for? And this is before Baba Ali. And I was like, well, if we actually get married, I want to record this because one day we might have kids and they'll ask, how'd you meet? So I'm going to record from this moment to the time we marry. And I did. I made it to a 2-hour movie. When I gave it to my wife, you know what she said? Yeah, I'll watch it later. I don't have time right now.
Oh, wow.
That's my wife. You want to keep me in check? That's how you keep it. It's okay. She watched it like, I don't know, 5 years later. Like, it's not, I'll watch it 10 more minutes from now. Yeah. I mean, any other girl like, what? You made it to a DVD? Yeah. And it has a DVD case and it has our picture and it has the whole description. Yeah, I spent hours working on this. Oh, it's okay. I'll watch it later.
So
I noticed that with a lot of wives, though. They know how to keep the other woman at bay. Like, hey, he's not nobody. He's nobody. Just, keep your eyes away from him.
No, it's not like that. It's not like that. My wife is, because if you watch me, she says you act weird with girls. You're acting too weird. So I'm socially awkward with sisters because I don't feel comfortable with the opposite gender. And I think that because I'm a convert and I kind of learned about Islam and it's different than just being born with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just I don't feel comfortable with the opposite gender. I feel very comfortable with my wife.
I feel uncomfortable around beautiful sisters like that. I'm like, oh, she's gonna be looking through my soul and
he's very comfortable with you. Means you ugly. That's what he's saying. Yeah.
I talked to. See, it's funny. Dave Chappelle talks about this. He says when other performers get together, it's like the league of superheroes. We all connect and we all talk. So when me and famous guys all get together, we talk a different conversation that others don't hear. So we talk about, hey, like I was talking to a very famous Nasheed singer, I won't say who, and I know a lot of the Nasheed singers before they were famous, and other performers before they were famous, men and women. I know, like for example, Maher Zain.
Yeah, this my son's favorite.
I met him right here in Houston.
Oh, really?
We're doing a fundraiser for a homeless shelter, for a women's shelter, and he's like, Ali, I'm a fan of Baba Ali. I know you from your videos. How you doing? Good. We start talking because we're performing that night together. And I think he was doing nasheeds and I was going to be doing comedy. And he's like, yeah, I was thinking about doing nasheeds and I'm starting to get this field. And there's this company called Awakening. What do you think? Should I sign with them? So we're talking. I'm like, and I said, dude, I'm so happy to meet you. We talked a little bit and I said, I have to go. So where do you have to go? I have to do another show tonight. I got 2 shows back to back tonight, which was another shelter for women. And I met him a few years later. He's blowing up and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Mashallah, now he's amazing. Like he's a superstar. So I get together with different people and not with this specific person, but with a different person. We sat down, we talked about, we had a conversation. So look, it's interesting how when you're famous, people suddenly want to marry you. And when you're nobody, you're nobody.
Yeah.
So I said, this is why and he says, and I said, we appreciate our wife 100 times more than any of these pretty girls because they don't mean anything. Because when you have a wife that was with you when you had nothing, they're there for day one. Because one day I won't be famous anymore. I'll be nobody. Yeah. I'll be walking on it's like, who's that? My grandpa knows who he is. That's how old he is. You know what I mean?
And that's the wisdom, of a successful marriage. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us all successful marriages. And if we don't have successful marriages, to Allah give us success in it. The reason being is that the one of the wisdoms of women or wives putting us in check is that they know us like nobody else does.
Yep.
And that's what we like. That's why we're comfortable around our wives in a certain way that we can't be comfortable around anybody else. And we know everything about them, and that's why they have that comfort with us. And somebody who's very, very famous or popular, it's easy it's easy to forget about your relationships when you're in the limelight and a lot of people are hovering around you. People forget their family sometimes. So it's awesome that, you're a very family person. And
all my friends who know me, bro,
yeah,
they'll tell you from day one, is zero difference. Like if I hang out with Ali, I would have no idea that he's a popular guy. Like one of my friends He said, I'm coming to the UK with you. And I was doing a show that was the show I did with 40,000 people.
Yeah.
And he's walking with me because we're traveling together. And then we get in and he's like, hey, how about can you take a picture? He's like, why do people want to take pictures with you? I have to make some videos on YouTube. Anyways, let's go. I take a picture. Then another person. That day, I took nearly, I think, 800 pictures.
Are you serious?
And I was so bad, I actually went into the bathroom stall and I put my legs up in the bathroom stall like they do in the movies. And I hid. And I felt uncomfortable. Like, I don't have to even use the bathroom. I just kind of hid. And I was so uncomfortable. I said, I don't want to see anybody. Let me just stay for a while because it's the only place that no one's going to take my picture. I promise you, I'm not even joking. I open the bathroom stall. I walk out. Hey, salam alaikum, baba. I'm like, are you kidding? I just used the toilet. Like, you were supposed to think I used the bathroom right now. And you want to shake my hand? Please, the right hand only, not the left hand. But you know what I'm talking about? It's like, this is so weird. Like, I don't want this attention. It's so awkward. I think it was a year before that. I was with my wife and we're trying to help 2 people get married. We're sitting in a restaurant that's not even the main part of London. It's like, it's all the small town. And we're sitting in a window seat. And it was me and my wife and then this guy and this other girl who wanted to talk for marriage. And as we're talking, these people walk by the window. Hey, it's him. It's him. I'm like, okay. My wife's like, what's going on? I said, just don't ignore it. Just continue. We're in the restaurant. They're probably going to walk by. They walk by. They come in. The next people walk by, they come in. Eventually, the waiter comes, excuse me, brother, who are you? I'm like, no, nobody. Hey, everybody. And it's free tea for everybody. It was like became a celebration. I'm like, this is craziness. And then these 2 are trying to get married. It all became about me.
Story of your life, huh?
Oh, bro, I can tell. You guys know who Yasmin Mogahed is?
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
So Yasmin Mogahed, I go to her wedding just before she was famous. And I'm sitting there and people constantly come up to me at her wedding asking for autograph. I said, this is so weird. Can you guys stop asking? I'm at somebody else's wedding.
That's the value of making people laugh, right? You could be someone who's a politician, someone who's in politics, and people know you. But when you make people laugh, dude, you make them really happy, right? And that's why.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
but sometimes I don't want to be Baba
I know
Ali.
you don't want to, but you're already in it.
No, but I
embrace it.
I was
No,
a
I'm just
Hajj.
joking.
I went to Hajj, and I remember Allah as my witness. I was making dua, oh Allah, please. I don't want to be Baba Ali. I just want to be Ali at Hajj. And I go there. I get off of the plane. I'm dressed like everybody else. I'm wearing a Baba Ali t-shirt. I am dressed in the same white clothes, 2 pieces of cloth like everybody else. As soon as I get off the plane and I'm staying in immigration, hey, it's him. I'm like, are you kidding? Are you kidding? Throughout the whole Hajj, I'm taking pictures with this guy, taking a picture. I'm like, dude, I'm like, can I get a break? Can I get a break?
And that's the worst place because that's the place you want to be the most humble at.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
And
want to
like
practice
this,
the most humility, and there's people propping you up.
and like, I think to myself, is my Hajj even being counted right now?
Oh my god!
If you're making tawaf and the guy's taking, hey, selfie. Are you kidding? Are you praying salah? People just randomly taking pictures of whatever you're doing. I was eating burger with the famous guy who was part of famous Nasheed singer. He left Def Jam. And he was laughing so much. He said, every single time you open your mouth to take a bite of the burger, someone wants to take your picture, and you can never take the bite of the burger.
Like
and he kept
paparazzi
laughing.
at the next level.
It was crazy. And to people, some people, by the way, they love this. My wife laughs because of how much I don't like it. So the day I stop being famous, the day I'm not a Muslim comedian, which is getting closer and closer, inshallah, I will never miss it. What I do miss are my projects that I enjoy. I enjoy projects like teaching good characters to kids, that little kids show I'm doing, helping people get married.
Yeah,
that's why I'm here, and I'm not part of the comedy. I didn't ask to be part of the entertainment.
Baba, I want you to reconsider leaving the comedy scene too soon because right now the Muslim comedy.
No, dude.
There's so many comedians. You have plenty.
No, there's so many critics.
Yeah,
listen,
but
dude.
I mean, it's the same terrorist trope jokes that
Been laughing.
No.
You know,
Forget everything we just said, bro.
my
Forget
joke is the bomb, bump.
No,
you know,
forget everything we said. Listen, we're just being honest here. It's not about trying to praise you in front of you. What we're saying is, man, anytime I want to just listen to those Muslim comedians, bro, I cringe for them. I feel embarrassed for them. And I'm not trying to be mean or condescending. It's because not everybody has it. They have to know they don't have it. They should be doing it.
Listen. To be fair, they're working with a very difficult audience. Too.
It's very.
But wait, hold on. I'll say one thing. Listen, this is my problem with entertainment. Okay, I'm just gonna just lay it down here. Muslims try to make the haram stuff like how it is, but they try to halalify it, right? Whether it comes to music or it comes to, and there's certain things you can't halalify, right? There's certain things, no matter what, you can't do that, right? And unfortunately, right now, like a lot of things, like I've heard Nasheed, and I'm like, Like, coming from someone who used to listen to a lot of music, I'm like, I don't want to hear that. Like, it's just lame to me, right? Like, just stop. You know what I mean? Like, just stop doing that. You're embarrassing yourself, you know? And, like, I have to hear, like, comedians do, like, a Desi accent or, like, an Arab accent. Dude, it's not funny. Cut it out. You know what I mean? Like, it's not funny anymore, dude. I can do that in my hotel room.
It was funny in the 70s.
And, yeah, I mean, like, you know, and, like, that kind of stuff is just, I mean, this is the thing. And this is kind of what I wanted to tie it into is that the generation today is very much American. Right? And they're not going to laugh at that dumb stuff you're doing. You know, it's like, that's what little kids laugh at, right?
Yeah.
So you need to relate to them in a way that they want to be related to, right?
Yeah.
And you have to be relevant, is the key word, right? And I think most of these people today are not relevant. Like, dude, there's so many, I mean, some media now, there's so much of it. You can go on YouTube and, I mean, from UK to like Malaysia, anywhere, there's so much of it. But like, nobody really cares about it. You know what I mean? Like, they're putting all this effort. And I feel bad because these guys put their life, their heart and soul into it, money, and they get like 10 views. You know what I mean? Like, bro, I feel, stop.
Nice camera, green screen, fancy backgrounds. Just like what?
Like, I mean, I know my brother, like, he spent like thousands of dollars, got recording studio time, everything. And like, dude, he got like 15 views. And I'm an honest person, so I told him, listen, just sell it, dude. Get your money back. Sell it and stop. Or collaborate with someone who can help you. You know what I mean?
Do you think the market is saturated? Is that what you think?
Well, look, it is, okay, for the lame stuff, it's very saturated. Right? If you are different and unique, it's not saturated. Because there's a genuine need for, like, real, heartfelt, but, like, honest entertainment. You know what I mean? Like, just podcasts in general, right? We could have done a podcast and been like, you know, the whole khutbat al-haja and bring everybody on and scholars, right? But what's different than everybody else? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, people want to hear how average Muslims deal with day-to-day stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, they don't want to hear about it's good to get nasiha, but then they're not coming to a khutbah, you know, to listen to you.
They can go to the khutbah if they want to hear that.
Yeah, they could do that themselves. They could open a lecture, or listen to Yasser Qadi, listen to somebody else, right? Why come to me and listen to little old me? You know what I mean? I'm a nobody, you know? So the thing is, I think the key thing is relevance right now. I think that there's such a disconnect between...
Not just relevance, but authenticity. Like, if you see a lot of the humor, it's like related to GIFs and memes and things that are happening... or fail videos, right? Realistic, like humor, right? Realistic things that are in line with reality and are kind of still like hyperbole. Like, it doesn't really happen to very many people, but it happens enough to make you laugh, and at least it happens enough that it got captured on video, where some idiot was taking the wrong turn and he was about to die, but he, you know, there's Reddit subreddit that I've watched. It's called no, yes, meaning
I see that.
He's about to die, and then he gets saved at the last second. And I just love it, and it's like gifs after gifs that are about Russian truck drivers who are about to die, falling off a cliff, and then at the last second he jumps off the...
Actually, I seen the opposite. I seen yes, no. I think.
Yeah, that's yes, no.
I think that's the one I see.
No, that's the horrible. That's.
I think I see. He's the optimistic. I'm the pessimistic version of it.
No, I don't want to see the guy die. Like, you're the dark person. You're a very dark person.
Lately I've been seeing like
I didn't know they existed.
I've been seeing like these Jordan Peterson memes.
He talked about yes, no means like those are the gifts where people die at the end. That's one where people are doing a great job and they break their leg.
Oh no!
I didn't know this one existed. I thought that's pretty dark. Okay, I guess that's all we had.
Like the ice skater is about to get the gold medal at the last second. She's doing the finishing move and
she lands on her face. Hey, look, they're laughing at that. Look.
Yeah. But you know, one thing that's really cool though is like here's the thing. I think while you mentioned this thing about, you know, people always greeting you and all that stuff, we always made it a point. I think it's a general rule among us that no matter who's on the podcast, we're gonna treat them like a person that wants to be like a human. Like, I mean, we're not gonna put them on a pedestal, right? Everybody is a human.
In the beginning, we were doing that, and then we were doing horrible.
So what happened was there was a particular scholar who just basically brushed us off, right? And we after you put him on a pedestal, like, you know, he's gonna be here, it's gonna be great, it's gonna be the launch of our podcast, and he just brushed us off. And then what happened was we realized, oh my god, like we did another podcast as like a nobody, and we got like amazing views. And we're like, wait a minute, we don't need anybody really to like, I mean, it's about the content we put out, right? And so later on, he comes back and, you know, we're thinking like, we don't really need to, I mean, when you talk to them at outside, they're one way, right? And when you get live on the air, they're a different way. Yeah. But what we try to do is we try to just keep it authentic. And that way, like, because that way the guest also feels himself, right?
Yep,
we're not
pressure,
like,
no pressure.
No, and the other thing is this. Unfortunately, a lot of Muslims today have put people on a pedestal, and what happens is when that person messes up, it's like their deen comes into question. It's like, oh my God, like how could he do that? Oh my God, the world is crushed. And like there was a particular scholar who had like some circumstances going around, and when people found out, they were devastated. Like they were like, oh my God, how could he do that? You know? And I feel like telling people, like, when you talk to people like this, when you get to know them, they're human beings like everybody else is. They have their ups and downs, or, you know, they have their own problems. They have their own things that make them laugh, and they're, you know, they're human beings, right? And I think a lot of people forget that. And I think I think one of the main objectives of this podcast is to bring that human element back to famous people. Like, hey, they're just like, you know, they're just like us, you know, like they have problems, they do stuff, and you know what I mean? Like,
it's funny. I know a lot of these famous people everyone knows. I know on the human level.
Yeah.
Like, I know famous scholars. I've never been to their lecture, but I just know them as, I just hang out with them because, oh, he's at the same event as me, and then we become friends and we just chill together.
Right.
Oh yeah, you're a famous guy, right? You're a famous scholar. Like, you have all this Islamic knowledge. Like, it's so weird. And even as I was telling you, Nasheed guys and stuff like that, I hang out with these guys, but I don't really go to listen to their nasheeds. I don't own their CDs. Yeah. But I see them on the human level. And it's funny, the conversations we have. I'll be sitting down with me, Omar Reagan, Zayn Bicker, all these guys, and what are we doing? We're playing board games.
That's cool. That's cool.
We don't do stand-up comedy. No one's doing a song. No one's doing anything. We're playing board games.
I kid you not. No, 2.5 years ago, if you came on our podcast, we would have had like a cart full of food and drinks, and you're like, Baba Ali's coming.
I'm not like that at all, dude.
I mean, it was just like our mindset was just different. And I think once we got to realize, like, hey, everyone's human, and we had, you know, enough experience in our belt to realize, like, you know, people aren't that much different. Just because they're a little bit more well known, they're not much.
And I love the fact. No, honestly, this is one thing I just learned about you. Is I love the fact that so easily, without even twitching, you mentioned that you're very, very anxious or nervous of the opposite gender, uncomfortable. You said
very uncomfortable,
and that is very, very important to be that transparent, because that is now people think that they call you an introvert or there's something wrong with you. If you can't be around the opposite gender, that means you're a little twisted in your brain. But no, there's one thing.
You're too conservative.
Not only that, Muslims, no, not even conservative. Muslims are going to be like, oh, that's what Islam does to you. It makes you become antisocial. Secularist Muslims will say that. But there's something that, ladies and gentlemen, we have to remember is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Look at the hadith of Rasulullah. They said that I forget who the narrator was. It might have been Aisha radiallahu anha. But the hadith is paraphrased as Rasulullah, when he was around women, he was like a girl, a little girl. You know, like a little girl when someone says Islam is your daughter, she goes and hides behind her dad.
Yeah,
it's like that's how Rasulullah was with women.
Yeah,
right. So that's something. Number one, that's in our time that has to be explained, that there's nothing wrong with you. That's the prophetic way. There's nothing psychologically wrong with you. There's nothing twisted about you. There's nothing dark about you. No, that's a very prophetic thing. And I think the second thing is, it's awesome. I mean, you're such a down to earth dude.
Thank you.
And I take that's a protection from Allah. That's protection from Allah. Because I don't know if I was in your situation or Sim was in your situation, Mort was in your situation.
I'd be arrogant as hell.
Dude, we know ourselves, dude. We get a little bit of popularity in just anything, bro. That's why I used to hate sometimes when I used to give a khutbah on people, and I knew it wasn't good. To myself, I'm very self-critical, and if I give a khutbah, and after a while, it kind of starts getting. That's why I'm like, okay, you know what? You got to put the brakes on, because everyone there's different things that challenge people. But the thing that for you could just walk in here and not even care and make fun of yourself.
Oh, yeah. So
and just tell people that, hey, my wife was like this to me. Hey, he takes out the garbage and changes diapers.
Yeah.
Bro, and I mean this in a good way. This is a compliment I say to people. Dude, you're a goofball, bro.
Yeah, big time.
Dude, and I love it.
You just met me and like, oh, dude, you're super confident. Like, you know me for the longest time.
I love it.
Anyways,
dude.
I have my guard down
Dude,
completely.
that's awesome. Allah's protecting you, man.
Alhamdulillah.
Because that's amazing, dude.
How do you not fall into the trap that a lot of like entertainers or comedians, artists in general, they're constantly critical of everything that they do, or maybe you still experience that.
I'll tell you, I am critical in a different way. So what I do is I go up on stage. I'm like, every single thing I'm saying, my mind is going completely different. Every single word I'm saying is being recorded. Forget on the mic, this mic, because this mic's being recorded too, but on a different mic, it's being recorded. And every single thing I say, I'm going to be held accountable on the day of judgment. So let's say I just said something and it wasn't as accurate as the story. Now everyone just laughed and I have to go back and say, listen, guys, that was actually a joke. And I get other comedians like, what are you doing? I had one of the most famous Muslim comedians contacted me when I first started doing my comedy. And he said, Ali, you're trying to make a point. And he said, comedy is the point. And I realized very quickly, I am now the black sheep of the Muslim community when it comes to of the Muslim comedians. Like when I hang out with certain comedians, I do not feel any connection with them whatsoever. And I'm sure they look at me as a weird guy. Because like, why are you acting like this? Like a lot of people, their mindset is very different. The view of Islam is completely different. I am probably, they look at me like Ayatollah or Super Mullah, or I don't know what they look at me. It's like, and other people's funny is because I'm so down to earth and goofball and think the people who are liberal, they think I'm super liberal. So hey, we want to invite you to our event. What's your event? Oh, there's a dance floor. It starts at 1 a.m. and we're going to be dancing to Fajr. I'm like, really? What the dance floor? I was like, what do you guys invite me for? Hey, you're Baba Ali. I was like, why would you think I would come to this event? Like, you have a costume? What costume?
No, but you know
what? Costume? What are you guys talking about?
It's kind of like what happened to Morton and I ran into some guys today, seems like, where they thought we were that kind of based on how we looked.
Like a boy band?
Yeah. So, I kind of where it fit in. So like, oh, yeah, we got to the event. Yo, we're like these kids,
we're like hipster types, right?
Yeah.
we're about to get down party tonight.
And I just let the guy know, I'm like, yo, I'm not really down with that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm comfortable around women. Like, just like you. I mean, just how we were raised up, too. Like, I just get... So exactly what he said. Like, and they think they have a perception of us based on the way...
So he was inviting you to a party?
Well, it's kind of an event that's kind of like a party. I don't know what it is, like an after hour, but it's not.
Where was this going to happen? I just want to know. It's a nice sound.
But let me tell you exactly a story about awkwardness. So there is this particular woman that I worked with, right? And she's a little bit older than me, but like, she still dresses like she's like in her teens. You know what I mean? Like you can get the idea, right? Yeah. So whenever she come and try to talk to me, my natural response is to like not look at her, right? Because anywhere I look at her, it's gonna be like revealing something. You know what I mean? So it's just like my response is awkward, Like so, I'm like, all right. So I'm like looking at the wall. I'm like looking at my phone, checking emails, my watch. She's like, how come you never look at me? And I'm like, well,
put some clothes on.
See, I don't know. For the last couple of years, you never look at me in the eye. When you're talking to me. And so one day I just, and I'm a very blunt person. I'm like, look, it's just not my morals to do that. You know what I mean? Like you just, I'm trying not to be offensive here, but I generally don't look at women that way. I don't talk, I don't shake their hands, right? And she's like, well, so you're telling me that, you have a problem? And she basically come out and said, oh, you can't look at cleavage? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I don't want to look at your cleavage, you know what I mean? And she got legitimately offended. Like she wasn't pretty enough or good looking enough or something like that. You know what I mean? And for me, just having that conversation, I never get nervous. Like these guys knew me.
You're sweating on a cold day.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And these guys know me. I'm a very blunt person. I'm in people's faces. I mean, I've been in boardroom meetings. I don't get nervous, right? But stuff like that makes me so awkward. Like, I feel like, what is happening here? Like, the world's spinning around. Like, stop. Make it go away. Like, stop. Like, bro, I don't want to be there anymore.
All the stuff is funny that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts us in these tests. And what he gets tested with is different than what I get tested with. What do you get tested with?
Yeah.
And only Allah knows what you can pass. So sometimes think about this. You make dua for something over and over and over again, but Allah never gives it to you. And you think to yourself, why doesn't Allah give it to me? Now, yes, He may give it to you on the Day of Judgment or in the hereafter, something that you cleared out your thing. But why is He going to give me, like, for example, let's say you're asking for good looks, or you're asking for, I want to look for a beautiful wife, or I want this, I want money. Or Allah, give me a chance so I can donate, I'll build a masjid for you, and this and that. No matter how many times you make dua, it never comes. Why? It's for the same reason, possibly, that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran that He'll never give a soul something it can't bear. So maybe this is a test that you can't pass, but you think you can pass.
Yeah.
It's not good for you.
It's not good for you. It's just like your child who's 2 years old and asks, can I put the knife thing?
Yeah.
And then, no, I'm not giving you a knife. Oh, why not? I want to play. But you don't, that child doesn't understand what the knife does. It's sharp. It's not just, even though it's shiny, it can hurt her.
Yeah.
So there's something that you want, you can't pass. But the next person can pass that test. So they'll get all this wealth. And Allah's testing them. That just because they pass doesn't mean they will pass, but they can pass. But you for sure can't pass. So He's saving you from something that you don't realize.
Yeah.
So for me, when I go through this test of this, I know guys who are trying to become famous, and no matter how many things they've tried, didn't work. Just like you were telling me the story, they bought this equipment, 15 views. You know, Allah's maybe saving them from something because you said it can make someone arrogant very easily.
Yeah.
Me, I like, dude, I don't want any of this stuff. I went on stage and I'm like, I'm super nervous, super awkward, and then this stuff happened.
Well, my wife is always like that. Like, you know, she's like, oh, you know, everywhere you go, nowadays, it's like somebody wants to talk to you. And I'm like, you know, none of this stuff affects me at all because I am comparing myself to the best. Like, I'm comparing what we're doing here to the best. I don't even look at what Muslims are doing in podcasting or in YouTube channels. I look at the top entertainers in the world. We already know the top podcasters and top YouTubers, and I am looking at them and seeing, like, how can I utilize those skills to make this effort just as good as theirs, and be at the top of the top of the line in quality, entertainment, all the meters that you want to hit, all the notes you want to hit to grab and captivate an audience. I mean, I'm always like criticizing our work and saying like, hey, this is nothing. Like,
I do it live when I'm performing, man.
Yeah,
I'm doing it constantly. Like, what I just say? That actually could be offended by somebody.
Yeah.
I just said that. Oh, snap. I got to rewind it now. And I can't rewind it. There's no undo button. I'm doing live. I'm on stage. I'm making people laugh.
Right.
And they're laughing. Now I got to stop their laughter and correct myself on stage.
Yeah.
And the comedians hate that because, dude, you're killing the moment. I said, I care less about the moment. I have no ego here. You guys are all going to forget about this night, but one day I'm going to be accountable for this night.
Yeah.
But you know what it is? There was like a review, a research that one of the brothers sent to me because there was a time where I really got into stand-up comedy. And he was telling me that, do you know that stand-up comedians are known out of all the entertainers to be the most depressed people?
Yeah.
And I was like, why is that? He's like, there's some reasons. And I read so I think that some stand-up comedians that I met, they're much, much different on stage. A completely different person.
I tell you, most of them are night and day. I'm not even a little bit. The most boringest guy. Boring is like talking to an accountant. Not accountant, a lawyer, patent lawyer. And you're like, this guy's a comedian? Hey guys, how you doing? Oh, well, I just want to tell you, completely different. Dude, I can't have like 5-minute conversation. Then there's other people that they're comedians, and the whole time they're doing jokes, I don't understand one word they're saying. Like they're joking with me on the side. Hey, what are you saying? I don't understand what you're saying. It's weird. Some comedians don't have an off switch. There's one or two I know. They are making jokes every minute of every day. If you're sitting on a bus and you're trying to fall asleep, hey Ali, let me tell you something. Hey, I'm like, dude, do you have an off switch? Because you're the opposite of the other guy. What, the accountant, the lawyer guy, or this guy, or this guy, the accountant guy.
I got a question for you though. So I remember, I think I read it somewhere that comedians generally like are making jokes all the time because they like deep down they're depressed people. Like I mean,
Deep down, there's something usually that's bothering them or some.
yeah,
type of
is
thing
that
they're going
true?
through.
Like for the
Yeah.
have you
I think
found
so,
that? To
yeah,
be
some
true?
people they went through a lot of trouble, and the deeper they get, you found that there is some stuff that.
And they deal with this by laughter, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Or attention, I think.
I think it's the attention and the laughter and the
Massive
self assurance to like
amounts,
to because when you come, guys, it's a weird feeling. You come into like we're sitting in a hotel room right now doing this, but when I go to a show, I travel by myself, get in a car, on a plane, then the plane drops me off at the airport, and then from the airport, I get on the Uber or whatever, and I get to the hotel, still by myself, no friends, no family, no kids, no wife. I'm just by myself and sitting in a hotel room in dead silence, turn on the TV. It's just boring news. Flip the channel, weather channel, boring news. It's like nothing. I turn off the TV, sit there. Oh, we're going to come pick you up. All right, they're going to come pick me up. They take me to a place. 1,000 people. And then I do the show. Everyone's laughing. Everyone's having a great time. Picture. Okay, get in the car. Go back to the hotel room. Sit by yourself. And look at the screen. Back to the weather channel.
What a high and low, right?
It's extreme high, extreme low. And I think for some people, that attention can be addictive.
Yeah.
And they do want it. And I think some people that become like YouTube stars or famous, when it comes down and the day you're not famous as you were before, that's when you have the meltdown. And that's when you're on the Eat True Hollywood Stories and like, hey, what happened to that brother, man? It's like, you see that video of so-and-so? Wow, he just found out that he's not famous anymore. And they're trying to go further with their comedy, trying to push it harder or their sheet or whatever it is, and realize I saw people, bro, they were one of the earliest people, and now they're nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody. Like, if you go down the street, not one person will ever know who you are. Not even the organizations have any idea who you are. Hey, I'm so-so. I've never heard of you.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've happened to me at this event. I go in I'm in the in-between zone right now. I go there, hey, it's my body, and take a picture, and someone goes, dude, I have no idea who you are. This guy's sitting next to him.
It's the generation gap.
It's a generation gap.
When was your last show?
I perform all the time. I perform next week.
Okay, but like, you say you're trying to transition out of comedy into doing more.
No, to me, it's like the day I stopped getting the comedy gigs,
Okay.
I'm totally cool.
got
But I don't market myself. Since day one till today, I don't and try to advertise. Hey, book me. If you guys
don't
don't,
see that on your videos.
I have zero.
Yeah.
You don't watch my videos. I never say, hey guys, give me a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe.
That voice was awesome.
That sounds like somebody who's hitting his dad back.
No. That actually sounded like a cartoon or something that I used to watch.
No, but
I watch my videos. I have 20 million views, but 70,000 subscribers, which means what? Which means I don't have that many subscribers, but the people who watch it, they start forwarding to all their
they're
friends.
sharing it, right?
So it tells you the video is actually
Yeah.
decent. It's not, because I have 20 million followers, and by default, if I post a video, 20 people are going to watch it if it's good or bad.
Right. So basically, your main focus right now is half your dean.
Yeah, half
right?
hour dean, yeah.
Yeah, half hour dean, right? Okay. So I just wanted to ask you something. So we were talking about this earlier, and like right now, there's like I must feel like there's a record number of guys, like 30-year-olds, like at home, and they just don't want to get married. Like they really don't. Like, and I'm not blaming them. I mean, I know it's a different world now than it was like 10 years ago, and like there's a lot of things to worry about, but
Yeah.
like they're not budging. Like they are not budging. Like,
It's a lot of systems.
and there's
man.
women too. It's not just men. Like there's women that just
Yeah.
are putting it off, and then like they're coming like they'll email or they'll come to us and they're like, oh, you know what, I can't get married, everyone's like different, and I'm set in my ways, and like they just don't want to. They'll just say inshallah, like it means
Which
like
means
never.
no.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And like people are apparently giving up, and it's like it's weird. Like it's just really strange, and especially for like Muslims where, look, I mean, you're a man who pretty much, I think you grew up in the States, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you're gonna fall into haram if you don't get married. I mean, that's just
Guys, let me say one thing real quick. If you're a prisoner in America and you're in prison and you're prison for life, what stops you from doing bad things or hurting other prisoners, or if you do any kind of violent crimes? How do they punish? How do they scare the prisoners?
solitary confinement.
Yes, put you by yourself. basically put you in the naughty corner. You have to just go sit in the corner. So no matter if you were in kindergarten, first grade, or if you're in prison, they found that one way that people are scared to death is to be by yourself. So you're telling me all these young people that have all these hormones and they're free, and then their choice is, oh, I want to be by myself.
Yeah.
That's all a facade, man. It's all fake. Deep down, if they have the right person and right opportunity, they will get married. The thing is, they just don't want to sound like they're desperate.
So in Europe, what do you think is like the biggest challenge? Because like me, like reflecting back on my own life, I tell anyone, if the younger you can get married, get married. You know what I mean? Like that's just probably the best advice. I mean, I'm not saying just run out and whoever, but the earliest you can get married, I would say get married. But
Yes.
the thing is, what is your advice to like
People looking to
men?
marry?
Yeah, I mean men. I mean, because look, I know it's tough. Like there's guys who are just lazy. Like I know that. Like you know they're just bums. Like you know what I mean? They want to live off.
I don't. Okay, but there's something that's motivating them. It's called hormones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't care how lazy you
That's
are.
why we get married. That's
That's
why
why we get
kids
married.
But what I'm saying though is like,
Baba,
and problem-
I was the first guy, I think, in the four guys that you're seeing in this room. I got married when I was 20. I just became 20. One of the biggest challenges, though, knowing how early I got married, was that I was immature as hell about a lot of stuff. And I think that a lot of young men in our generation right now aren't being taught to be men.
Yes.
And I feel like I was kind of in that generation gap where, you know, I was taught by my dad to be a man, but like I just saw him as an immigrant dad and not very relatable. And I thought like, you know, well, that's his generation, that's how they're supposed to be, but I'm going to find my own path. And, you know, there were a lot of like, you know, it was a roller coaster early on in my marriage where I had to like really figure out how I am supposed to be. Like there'd be times where, you know, I'd be hanging out with Mort over here instead of, you know, spending time with my wife when she needed me
I
to
still
be there.
do
You
that,
know?
even though I've been married for 11 years.
Yeah. So
his second baby, he instead of being in the hospital, he was in his basement hanging out.
Bob was like, whoa, okay, guys, this is a little too much.
Yeah,
this
I
is
mean-
where the fun ends, guys. Let me talk to you guys real quick.
Awkward.
let's turn the mics off. Again, I was
Like
almost
23.
through 12, 13 years ago. So that was a whole different sim back then. But yeah, I mean, these are some lessons that now being a father of two teenage daughters, I wonder like, hey, I mean, would I let them marry a young a man who's in his 20s, you know, early 20s?
Is it because you're in the 20s or because your father's role with you was disconnected?
No, or for just knowing myself and how immature I was.
But
when I first got
every
married.
guy has different. Some guys mature faster than others. Guys in their 30s are not mature,
That's true. That's
right?
true.
So the guys
but,
are 45 years old.
Some of us, we regress.
but how
No, but in my opinion, I think like honestly, I think the final step for a man to be mature is marriage. Like I mean, because technically, if a man,
Bro, you have this conversation with my wife, and she'll tell you this. I have 3 children. My 2 daughters and Ali. She counts me as one of the 3 kids. The stuff I do and the stunts I pull off at home, and the stuff I'm telling you, things that other sisters will probably divorce. My wife takes. Okay, let me give you an example. My wife will go take a shower, and then what I do is with the kids, we pick the lock. And we grab water and we throw it over, and then she freezes with cold water, and we all run away laughing. So we pull off stunts at home. Like my wife will text me, and my wife is exact opposite of me. She's very, very introvert. She doesn't have 1,000 friends. She has a few friends, but she's very close to them. And it takes a long time to get to know her. Even when I married her, she didn't open up easily. So you don't get messages all the time, I love you and stuff like that. It wasn't like that at all. After a certain period of time, I'm married to her for 17 years, alhamdulillah. One day, she texts me, says, Assalamu alaikum, Ali. I just want to let you know I love you and I care about you. And I don't express my feelings very often. But I just want to let you know I make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you the highest of Jannah. May Allah give you a Jannah for those. May Allah answer every dua that you want. You're an amazing husband. Every small thing you do, you go out for our family, you do this, this, and this. And I really, really appreciate you. Thank you for everything.
Oh, that's beautiful. Man.
Instantly, I responded with 3 words. You know what those 3 words were?
Are you dying?
No. I did not say I love you. I said, who is this?
Oh my lord!
My wife.
She just poured her heart out, bro.
No, she poured her heart out. I said,
I would
instantly
never do
saying, who is this? Question mark. I know who it is because her name's there. And she's just, there's no ... There's nothing. I'm sitting there looking, okay, ... Say something. She's not saying anything. Come on, say something. Say anything. I'm like, okay, man, I don't want to hurt her feelings. I'm saying, you're the love of my life. She's still not responding. I'm like, if I'm in trouble, I'm in trouble. So I responded again saying, but seriously, who is this? So my wife, I come home, she's not mad, nothing. And she just shakes her head. I'm sure when she reads it, she's just shaking her head and laughing. So this guy is a goofball.
Oh.
You know what would have been funny if she's like, oh, wrong message.
So I'm going to use this for the stand-up comedy. No, she doesn't have the sense of humor. She's but she knows how to push my buttons too. She does her practical jokes that gets under my skin. She'll get me to go to get-togethers where there's all sisters and just me, or like there's all sisters and just like one guy that I don't know who he is and just speak my language, and I'll just sit there awkwardly and she'll laugh. She enjoys it in a different way. Oh yeah, you're gonna get back? Okay, go ahead. I got my sense of humor. It'll be funny watching you in awkward situations.
But I think everyone has their own sense of, like what with their immature and stuff. Like that story that you just said, that reminds me of kind of myself. I don't think I've ever went to that degree. Because I'm not gonna say I'm like my wife, but I know some spouses that can get pretty violent if you do that kind of stuff. So
okay,
that did come pretty weird, right?
I'll give you one.
So
go ahead. Go ahead. Tell me yours.
No, don't worry.
She was lying on a couch one day, and she loves her chocolate. So she was eating chocolate, and there's one last piece left. She grabs a chocolate, and she's about to put it in her mouth. I said, wait. It's like, what? I grabbed the chocolate, and I ate it. I said, what? You should see her face. She's in complete shock. That's the last piece. She's looking. I just saved it for myself, and I finished eating it. Like, it wasn't meant for you. I said, what? I said, it wasn't written for you. It wasn't part of your rizq. It's like, what do you mean? How do you know that? I said, it was written for me. I said, if it was written for you, there'll be no way for me to physically take for you. But because it was written for me, I was able to take it from you and eat it, and now it belongs in my stomach.
Wow, that's impressive, dude. That is impressive. You know how many times I want to do stuff like that?
But my wife,
it wouldn't work out.
She laughs. It's like, this guy's crazy. Now she hides her chocolate from me. But what happens is that's what, like my daughter, when she's young, my wife's like, can you stop teaching our kids like Islam though? You're talking. Let me rewind a little bit what happened.
Yes.
So my daughter's sitting there and she's 4 years old. And my wife says, okay, come pray Salah with us. No, I'm not praying Salah. It's like, why? I don't want to. So why are you not want to pray Salah? Because it's not fard for me to pray Salah. It's not obligatory. It's obligatory for you guys because you're grown-ups. Oh. So as a child, sometimes I'll play and sometimes I'll pray. But at this time, I would like to play so you guys can go ahead and pray.
Oh, wow.
I'm always like, can you stop teaching this kid? Stop listening to your dad. Like, why are you teaching this kid? Actually, she's speaking the truth. It's not fard on her. This Jannah's guaranteed for me, not for you guys, so you guys better go pray. Wow. That's her mentality. It's like the other kid, my wife's like, what are you teaching this kid? She actually is speaking the truth. So I'm actually been frank and straight, like you say you're straightforward. My children from day one till now, I'm straightforward. When they ask a question, I answer it. No matter how awkward the question is, I answer it. This is a good thing to bring up. Like when your kids are asking about questions, even for like where the babies come from, the most awkward thing to talk about. When my kids are old enough to ask the question, I should be old enough to answer the question. Because if you don't answer it, they're going to learn. And you don't want Sheikh Google to teach that. No. So, and plus, if their friends start telling them, so I knew that when I was 8. I knew that when I was 11. My parents told me when I asked them. And, oh, no, they come from the hospital. No, they don't come from the hospital.
Yeah. Well, you can just have Maheen teach them. He'll do a good job.
So Uncle Maheen has this conversation. Bro, he scares us.
I have 2 daughters, so I'd be more than happy to discuss with them the details of the male anatomy.
Awkward.
So the thing about that though is that
you were supposed to say okay.
The thing about that is like I always tell people like either like either you're indoctrinating them or somebody else is indoctrinating them.
Totally.
Like
Yes.
it's never gonna be like they're just not gonna hear about it, right? Someone's gonna tell them, especially now.
With all the stuff you see on television.
And the information age where you can go on YouTube and I mean there's 7-year-olds who are programmers on the internet now. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna get information. You can't stop that. You know, I remember my nephew was I gave him like my dad's phone. I got him an iPhone like a long time ago.
I remember that.
And like my dad think, oh, there's YouTube on here, right? He's watching it. Next thing you know, he gave it to my nephew. He was like, I think a year old, right? He was watching some like Islamic video. And next thing you know, we watched him. There was like a booty shaking video. He didn't even know how he clicked on it, you know? And like what's going on? You know what I mean? Like,
What
like
is twerking? Twerking. What? Oh,
you know,
man.
it's so crazy. Yeah, but just coming back to what I said about being mature, though, the thing is, I don't mean in this sense. Like, this is all perfect. I think it's fine with your wives and you joke like that's fine. But what I mean mature is that, like, there's men nowadays who don't want to, like, get a job and, like, take responsibility and pay bills and, like, plan. And you know, and I think men generally, I mean, I'll be like, when I'm a bachelor, like, I didn't have to worry about, like, you know, like, budgeting money. You know? I mean, I always made good money, alhamdulillah, in my profession. But I didn't care about budgeting money. Like, I just... whatever, you know. I got laundry, I do it once a week, you know. I clean the house, get them, you know, somebody will come and do it. I mean, but like you start changing your mindset when you get married and you start having a family, you're like, oh man, like you got to actually start planning. And I think that's like the final stage in a man being mature, because otherwise, if you imagine living like you're in college your whole life.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get nothing done.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is a last stage. I mean, I'm sure men hit that at a different age. I mean, some could be at 18, some could be at 30. You know, women too are different. But I think right now is that there's like, I feel like the generation now feels entitled. Like, you know, like, oh, I have to have a job with this much money, and I have to be like this successful, or I have to have someone who looks exactly like this, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Do you feel that now? Like,
Yeah,
when you're dealing with people looking to get married.
Yeah, and I think one of the challenges they have is they're superficial in different ways. Guys, this is all everyone knows. We're superficial when it comes to beauty. But when girls come to my booth and we start talking about marriage, I'm straightforward with them. And they go, yeah, guys are superficial. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I'll tell you how you guys are superficial too. They don't want to hear this, but I tell them the truth. You guys are superficial when it comes to success. If a man is successful enough, you'll give him a pass on other things.
Yep.
I said, if a girl's beautiful enough, we will give her a pass. Oh, she has a little bit of a temper. That's okay. She's like this. It's okay. She's like this. It's okay. Now, if a sister like is not attractive, so she's very overweight or very whatever, very old, and she has a bad temper, do you think she has a pass? Zero chance. But if a girl's beautiful enough, we give her a pass. And girls do that same thing. If he's successful, oh, he doesn't pray. Maybe inshallah one day he prays. Oh, he does that. It's okay. You know, he has a Muslim name.
Because she gets that doctor money.
Yeah, it's a doctor money. So she sees the success, and this blinds us, right? So one of the challenges I have with Half Our Deen is like, we have a website to help people get married, but I try to teach people some of the stuff that we never hear in khutbahs. I actually made a series called Find Your Half. And it's a website called findyourhalf.com where I teach people all the stuff I wish someone sat down and told me before marriage. So one of the things was like the differences between men and women, how they communicate differently, how men, when they're stressed, they want to be left alone, and how women, when they're stressed, they want to talk. And why is this important? I'm stressed. I come home. Like, let's say one of my friends are stressed. He's really stressed out. What do? Give him some space. Right? He just had a tough day. He's angry. Give him 5 minutes, then relax.
Walk it off, you know?
Yeah, walk it off.
Yeah.
So what happens is like you come home, your wife is stressed, and you're like, wow, she's crying. It's a really bad day. I'll let her walk it off. I'm going to go for a walk. It's like, what's wrong with this guy? He doesn't love me. I love her so much. I leave her alone. Every time she cries, I'll leave back in 30 minutes. I'm going to go play games with the brothers. Downstairs. I'll play video games with the brothers downstairs.
And you think you're doing the best thing?
Yeah,
like,
I'm a cool guy. I'm the best. And then
She can't wait to think.
and she's the opposite. She's the opposite. For her, it's like every time a friend's in need, girls want to talk it out and let them talk about their feelings. So she sees you stressed. What's wrong, honey? Nothing. What's wrong, honey? Nothing. You want to talk about it? No. You sure? Nothing. I think something's wrong. Is it me? No. Tell me what you're thinking about. Nothing. Tell me. It's you. You know what? Now it's you. Now you're driving me crazy, right? So you flip the script, and the girl doesn't know why you're fighting with her, and the guy doesn't understand why she's fighting with you. And these are because we don't learn about each other. They say, there's a funny saying that says, if when men get stressed, they start wars and invade countries. When women get stressed, they eat chocolate and go shopping. They're very different.
Yes.
No one teaches this stuff. There's no khutbahs about it. So I have module number 1 is about how men and women. I think is about how men and women are different. One of the modules talks about like intimacy. I say here's the part. Everyone, it's the best part. Everyone wants to, when they want to get married, they go to the Islamic bookstore in the masjid. They go to the very back looking for that one book about intimacy. You take it to the cashier. Oh, someone's getting married. And then you open it up to see what's haram, what's halal. It doesn't say anything. Just says, say this, do all this, do all what?
Yeah,
Where's the stuff? Where's the juicy stuff?
No pictures,
So I'm like,
nothing.
I wish someone made a video that would tell me that I can watch in my own private headphones and listen to it, and I did it. So I made a video explaining all the stuff that no one explained.
So is it like a module, like step 1, step 2, kind of like?
Yeah, it's like I call it
course.
module, but it's actually videos.
Kind of like a course of
Yeah,
videos?
2 hours long.
You're personally explaining
Intimacy for 2 hours. Like when you're done with it, it's like, okay, dude, that's actually a little bit.
Is
too
that
much
why we
information.
noticed in ISNA you had the background of your booth that said it was the coolest, most unique display I've ever seen.
Thank
it's
you.
a big black flag.
Since
not
we're
the one
private.
that you're thinking of. Just a big.
That's like kinda
and then
like
it
our-
says private in white.
Yeah, it's a little
But then it's like meet your match. In the bottom.
Find your other half.
you
Yeah,
can find it like in the bottom.
yeah. So that's
So
a little.
what sparked that idea? Is that what it
The
was?
idea is like we have a private website, but we don't want people to know that. If you don't want people to know that you're looking to get married, use us. Every other website, your picture's on it. Like if I'm just a nosy uncle or auntie or relative or your cousin, and he sees you on the picture on the website, it looks kind of weird. Oh, you like romantic walks on the beach? Oh, your brother! Hey, look what I found! Look what I found! You found fast forwarding this now is on Instagram.
Mahin and Sim are looking for a second.
What? What's this? So what we do
All
is
talk. We ain't seen nothing yet. Go ahead.
it's very we try to make it very subtle. So if you want to go find somebody, but you don't want the whole world to know, and we have a lot of famous people who've actually used the website.
But on the real, do you guys?
Can you tell us some famous people, please?
I will tell you one thing. I can give you a clue.
Who's in there right now that's not married yet? Who's famous?
If I said that one of the people who went and used our website for a whole year, every single person at this conference would know that person. It wouldn't be one person. Oh, I don't know who that is. Every single person. If say in the top 3 in the United States or top 5 in the United States, he's one of the most popular.
So it's a male. Confidential.
I
No,
have
I'm joking.
females who contacted me, very, very famous females contacted me. I'm looking to get married. They contact me and say, Ali, you're the guy. I don't say who it is, but then I tell, okay, this is what you can do. So a lot of times they ask me about the personality stuff. Yeah.
But sorry, I lost my. Go ahead.
He was going to ask about do you assist in finding second wives?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes.
I like how you think for him, mashallah.
I like how you speak for him. Mashallah. She's like, oh, by the way, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, yes, I was. Thank you, buddy.
So that brings me to the question though. But so is it national? Is it like domestic here or is it like internationally?
It's
too?
international, but we have a one-wife limit.
Oh,
What?
you do?
What?
Yeah, so
Baba.
we live in America. I follow
Who
U.S.
invited
laws.
this man to the podcast?
John, don't listen to this.
What
Just
about
busting
some of
your
those
chops.
countries like
No. We can have
the
ritual
Mamlaka?
marriages. We can have ritual marriage.
I've never met a brother who has more than one wife. I know brothers who have more than one wife. I've never met a brother with more than one wife that's not stressed out of his mind.
So
Oh,
what?
I believe that. I mean,
That's okay.
I don't want more.
That's
than
okay.
one.
I know one that has 3, and he
that's
was
not
so
your
stressed.
Baba. That's not your stress.
I know. I'm just saying, like everyone thinks that.
We'll worry
Guys,
about
Talk
that.
about
when
the
we-
social fabric in his society, son.
We'll cross the bridge.
Okay, guys. Okay, let me break it. Let me break it down for all the listeners out here, real quick. For all the guys who are married, they're gonna be nodding their heads right now. Now you know, in marriage, whatever is advertised on TV when you watch on TV is very different in real life.
Yes.
It's 90%. Let me tell you what happened today. The other day we had a sandwich. Okay, can you go get the groceries? Oh, guess what? And and then 10% intimacy, right? Or even if you get 10% intimacy, even if after so many years of marriage, if you marry a second wife, you're gonna double 180%. Will be. Let me have it today. What did you say this before? No, that was your other wife.
Your other wife.
No, you have to listen to my problems.
No, I'm saying the amount
Hey,
of
Bob.
talking you have to deal
Oh,
with.
amount of talking?
My head would explode.
My head will explode. Average man speaks 10,000 words per day. Average woman speaks 25,000 words per day.
Hey,
you marry
no.
4,
I
you
have a
have
habit of
100,000 words per day.
But no, okay.
The thing is, I have a habit of
Put
falling.
that all aside. Let's just say I want to deal with that. I don't have a problem. All right. let's just say a man wants to pursue the halal route, wants to find the second wife. Baba Ali is saying no. But Minder is saying yes.
Have to go. He can go wherever he wants.
Minder is saying yes.
But what else is Minder known for, dude? Come on.
We talked to Minder today.
He's known. Listen. Yeah. I know what you're saying. I know you're playing devil's advocate, but look, he's known. He has a certain niche, and he's working on it in the most fruitful and most pure way. Those other apps, we know what else happens on those apps. There's very few people, and we just talked to somebody about even Minder and whatever the case. I'm sorry if we're talking about just Minder, but even though Minder didn't intend it, but people use it for many, many other things. This gentleman right here just wants to keep it like this, and he doesn't want people to look at marriage as a burden because a majority of the United States does, right? Mm-hmm. And he just wants to keep it, look, this is one marriage, this is how we're going to do it. We don't want, because let's say a fallout happens, because in this country, United States, people who are married with two women and other people start knowing about it, one of those marriages are falling apart. That's going to come back to him now, or the reputation of.
Oh, why would it come down to him?
Of course it will.
No. Wait. So I'm going to start with Bob on this one. You know why? Look, you can tell he's been married for a while because, look, he knows he's going to have to deal with another woman complaining about another woman who met on his website, and he doesn't. He'll have to hear another woman complain to him about that. And so I get why you only have a one-wife policy.
You guys, listen, you guys all married?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want double that? Look at these guys all shaking their heads.
No, here's the thing.
He made it simple, dude. He doesn't want to break any laws.
Here's the deal, right? I actually want to you mentioned the reality of marriage, which is good. I think a lot of times people don't like
kids.
It's 90% intimacy, 10% talking. No, it's the opposite.
Well, when we were. Because, okay, if you don't we tell we have some single friends, right? Yeah. We tell them the reality is that it's not 90% intimacy. It's like 10%. If you're like hitting a home run once a month, you're in good shape. You know what I'm saying? And these cats just don't want to get married. They're like, we ain't getting married. What's the point? I'd rather smash some cafe on the side and make Toba later.
This guy's like, whoa.
No, but that's
a reality. That's what's happening, though, right?
Because think about, look, I'll be honest. Look, there's guys who get married late, right? Okay. And you know what? And let's be honest, okay? Like you said, we live in a sexually charged society. If you're not married, and you're a Muslim guy from home, by the time you get to college, you're getting in trouble, right? Unless you're saying the Yusuf, but you're getting in trouble unless you're in college, right? So they get used to the idea, I'm gonna make Toba, I'm gonna whatever, and they make excuses for themselves, and and then they delay it, and then what happens when you get older? You start trying to rationalize marriage. You're like, oh man, I gotta spend this much money, I gotta do this, right?
It becomes an economic.
Yeah, it becomes it becomes kind of like, okay, because I'm set in my ways, and then I gotta try to change that, and then they're like, oh, they just gotten used to this habit of just. Like you said, smashing once a month and making Toba, make a Hajj once a year. They try to play with it and say, oh, I'll make it work, But unfortunately, I feel like in a lot of ways that men have some unreal expectations about marriage, like how you're just gonna just get it all the time, it's just gonna be some La La Land, where you're gonna, and they think that, and they think that nowadays that women are gonna do exactly what they're told, because they hear stories like, oh, control your woman, your woman should do this, and they don't realize it's not like that, you know what I mean? If you do that, you're not going to be married very long, right? I mean, a lot of people talk a lot of that game, but everybody knows how they are when they go back to the house.
They're told that you're the head of the household. When you get home, you find out she's the neck, and the head doesn't move without the neck. Yeah. So all the married guys, I'm the head, but she's the neck. Yeah. So
it's not even they can physically overtake. It's the fact that you just want peace and calm, right? You're like, oh, I don't want to mess that whole thing up.
Yeah. We're all getting along right now. We'll go press the buttons.
Right, but we got two problems stemming off that. We got the single dudes who ain't getting married, and we got the other married dudes who thought when they were getting married they were gonna it was gonna be like Kama Sutra every night or something, right? And then it's nothing's happening and they're just getting stonewalled. Okay, so some of them are going infidelity route, right?
Yeah,
I was talking to some brothers not too long ago, and I don't think, and they seem to be very surprised that people are going the infidelity route because of that. I'm like, dude, you're guys. I can understand it being a bad decision. Like no one's disputing that because you got kids. Like it's a fast track to like not even hell, but like problems in this dunya too, right?
Let me guess, those friends you're talking to are super religious.
But it's it's super.
I mean, they're out of touch.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. You just
I mean,
defined
that's
religious
something.
as out of touch.
That's
Buddy. What do
something
you
like
mean?
that's
What do
something
you
very
mean?
something a lot of the very religious condescending
It's
type
not
say.
really.
You
What
know,
you were
like-
just saying. It's a type of religion.
No, it's a type of person who's really out of touch with how like regular young Muslims.
Yeah, it's out of touch people. I mean, just religious people out of touch or irreligious people.
Well,
out of
I'm
touch.
not saying that all religious people
So,
are out of touch.
SJWs
Yeah.
Sheikh
for the
Amr
win.
takes everything.
SJWs for the win.
Sheikh Amr is always taking everything against
SJW.
But you see my point though, right? There's you. How do you? Okay, you have this problem now. How do we address the problem, right?
Okay, so there's a couple different problems. There's
Yeah.
that one problem where you have, okay, let's just talk about the first one we discussed earlier. You're married, it's 90-10, and you're like 90-10 ain't working out. Can we do like 80-20? Can we do compromise here? Yeah, so, and the marriage was like, what happened was when you first got married, it wasn't 90-10. It was like 50-50. Yeah. We barely talked and everything's going on fantastic. So why?
You say we barely talked.
Yeah, we barely talked. I didn't know how you felt. I know who your friends were. So, yeah. Guys, if you guys are watching, he's the sheikhs on the bed laughing. Okay, so literally lying down on the bed laughing. This is weird. Okay. So
to be funny. He was being serious.
It was hilarious.
I'm telling you, I was on stage being serious. People kept laughing at me. Okay, this is me. I'm like doing stand. Okay, so what happened is like when you first get married, you're in the honeymoon phase, and during the honeymoon phase, something interesting happens. Yeah. You can call it Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's plan. A man's like hormonal level, I think it's the estrogen level, moves up about 30%, and a woman's testosterone level jumps up. Therefore, in the first honeymoon phase during marriage, the man is very romantic. He's touchy-feely. He does all these small things. I text her, I love you, buys her flowers, and you don't know why you're doing all this stuff. You're opening the door for her, all this stuff. And then after the honeymoon phase is over, you feel much more comfortable. You're not opening the door. It's not like you don't want to do it. You don't really think about it. Oh, yeah, sorry. I forgot to open the door for you. And it says slowly, but it's like, what happened to me? You were so romantic when we first got married. On the flip side, it was always intimacy every second. You were barely talking. And now she wants to talk a lot. Oh, why do you want to use me for that? Why is that always on your mind? Why? Because her testosterone level has normalized. And now you're stuck with somebody and they're stuck with somebody, and you better have some things in common. You better have personality that's clicking. You better have Dean that's on the straight path, because if all that stuff isn't there and it was just the intimacy, then you're going to say, I think it's going to work out anymore. And then this is why people get married and married and married. They just keep going through the honeymoon phase. So, solution. Girls will quickly forget how guys are wired, and guys are forgetful how women are wired because no one's really taught us. So what I do is, one of the things I teach people is women, the average woman speaks 25,000 words per day. 25,000 words. Average man speaks 12,000 words per day. This is why when the man comes home, she says, how was your day? Fine. How was everything? Good. Who was at the wedding? Everyone.
Wow, that's impressive.
You know what I'm saying?
Doubled up.
Yeah, and the guy's like, she's like, why are you so boring? Where's the details? On the flip side, honey, I got in a car accident. What happened? So let me tell you what happened. So this morning I woke up, and then I was thinking, do I need a tuna sandwich? Or do I need what happened to the car? Let me tell you. So Sister Mariam called, and I was like, Mariam, what's going on? For 20 minutes she was talking, and it's never got to the car. What happened to the car? Well, let me tell you, like, you're just going crazy. Can you fast forward? My wife's like, no, you have to listen to all the details. There was these flowers, and these flowers, you're just going crazy because you don't hear anything she's saying. You know what I'm talking about. You're shaking his head right now.
Bro, and the crazy thing is when it gets repetitive. Like, you'll talk about the same thing over.
Yeah, you just said that.
You told me that. You told me that.
Okay, but let me tell you what was in the tuna sandwich. It was lettuce.
Are you listening? Yeah, you told me
there was
that.
lettuce in the tuna sandwich, and I don't like lettuce in the
And
tuna sandwich.
You know what the funny thing is? Like, they'll tell you a story as if like you never heard it before, and they'll repeat it. And like, you remember? I'm like, yeah, you told me that already. You know? Like,
But let me tell you
you
again.
don't have to be rude about it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, well, I already know it. Like, I'm not interested. And I have a bad habit where I fall asleep. Like, I literally fall asleep. Like I can't control it.
Sometimes I told my wife, I don't want to jump the subject, but I told my wife, it's like, tell me that boring story with you and Mariam, because it makes me put to sleep.
I did that.
I promise you, Allah is my witness. I did this with my wife, and I think I fell asleep to it. And she told me the boring story again. And I fell asleep. I was sick. I wanted to fall asleep. I said, one of your boring stories that you and the girls are doing stuff, I had no interest for me. It just makes my mind drift away, and I fell asleep. So again, other girls will get mad at me, but my wife did it. And
Interestingly enough, I think my wife and I are flipped. I'm the one that tells a long, drawn-out story, and she'll just get to the point.
Maybe your estrogen levels are higher.
One of those.
That's kind of mean shake.
I know. I'm sorry. No, I was gonna say my estrogen levels might be high too.
I think is that why I've been growing the man boobs.
Okay.
I took this podcast is different.
I'm like, what are we talking about again? So, anyways, back to the subject. Tell the girls that remind them, and this is what I do in the video. So, hey, yeah, their husband's like, hey, you should watch Baba Ali's video about this, where I explain to sisters that in a way that they understand. You know how you have to speak 25,000 words per day? If you don't speak them, you get frustrated and you get anxious. Because girls, if they just keep bottled up the words, they get frustrated a lot. They need to let it out. The more they let it out, they feel fantastic. When they come back with the sisters get together and they talk forever, they come back and they're in a super good mood. Yeah. Super good mood for everything, for your home runs and everything like that. So what happens is that you have to explain to her that a guy, just like your words get piled up and then you have to let them all out, a man's hormones piles up. And he has to let it out. And if he doesn't, he gets frustrated. And he can't think. And he can't think of anything. And he can't think of it.
You gotta clean the sheets, which is even worse.
No,
right?
easily. Hold on, let him finish. Let the brother say what he's saying, man.
But that's a good idea because why are the sheets always like sticky? I was like, that's because that's what happens. Biologically, after a timeline,
you get
I'm just gonna
right
explode
now.
in my pants.
This is a live
randomly.
counseling. This is a live counseling session, brother. This is why we have you here, actually. This is the podcast. Well, this is an intervention for you, buddy.
So this is what we have to deal with, pretty much. Okay.
No, he doesn't know this, but we have you here because this is intervention now.
Okay. Is that why we're in the hotel room with everyone surrounding him? He's sitting there by himself? Okay.
Wait, bro, we had to do this for you, bro.
All right.
All right.
Anyways, continue. I just had to make sure that we established some pros for the sisters of why they should be.
No, that's a good point. I never thought
But
about that.
if a girl understands it, so it's like the way I have to let the words out? Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
So it's not personal. And I explain it to the way you get hungry.
Okay, but what do you say? I don't mean to cut you off. What do you say when women say, well, you're not a woman, you don't know how it is? You get those type of people? You're a guy. How are you going to, a guy, tell us how you're not a woman, you don't know what it's like?
No, but women understand that you need to really communicate. Communication is really important to you, right? It fills up. Like the way I can explain it, not even in those terms, like, okay, imagine hunger. You just ate, right? Slowly, you're not hungry right now, but in a couple hours, you get more and more hungry until at night you get hungry again. So when you release that tension, it builds up, and then you release the tension again. Yeah. You can't let it say and just let it boil up, because it boils up. Now I'm going to have different trials that you don't have. And I'm wired this way, and I know you're wired differently. Like, for example, there's a hadith that talks about if the person who can control what's between his jaws and what's between his legs can get Jannah. Yeah. So the jaws, who has a bigger trial of the tongue? The women. And the legs is the men. For women, lowering their gaze is a joke. So lowering their gaze, and for us, guys, don't get together and start backbiting behind so-and-so. Like, who cares? Like, do whatever you want, dude. So it's not that big of a deal for us, even though some people do backbite and girls do look.
You said generally, like average,
Generally, it's easier for guys. Okay, guys, let's try not to backbite between this brother who's sitting here. Okay. Like, when he walks out of the room, let's not say, I hate his clothes. Like, who cares? I hate his hat. Here it comes again. Something good. Like, we don't do that. Like, we don't care. Like, it's a joke.
It had to be a video podcast.
It's a joke. Yeah. Dude, we're different. Yeah. It's when women, like you have to explain. Like, I explained to my wife, and people watch us. Guys, like, even when we hang out with each other, it's totally strange for you guys. Like, we're different species. Not even like the same. Like, guys, we tease each other. to get close to each other. You guys are, while I'm doing this, you guys are teasing each other.
Yeah, yeah.
And it builds a bond. So what happens, guys get married, they tease their wife. Hey, you're getting big again.
Yeah, dude.
And guess what happens? You're not building a bond. Guess back, no more home runs for tonight. No, you can sit in the...
No hormones for tonight.
No more home runs.
Home runs, yeah.
Home runs, no hormones. Okay.
Yeah. You're not even getting on first base.
Yeah, go first base.
He goes, no hormones.
I know. Yeah, not even getting the bat. You get the picture. Dugout. Sit in the dugout. Actually, the stadium's closed tonight, my friends. So what happens is that that's that. But
We
then
changed him, ladies and
the way
gentlemen.
the women don't understand, I make a joke about it on stage. I said, look, men tease each other, but they don't really mean it. And women compliment each other, and they don't mean it either. And the girls start laughing. I said, the way you guys compliment each other is the way you guys build bonds. But guys, we don't say, hey, I really like your shirt. And we really don't like it. We don't say it. If I like it, I'll tell you I like it. If I like it, it looks stupid.
You look stupid as hell, dude.
Yeah, like what the hell are you wearing green shirts, underwear for outside your pants? Well, that's weird. You're not even a superhero. It's like, why are you wearing underwear outside your pants? So we're straight up. So you know how we're different? So I explained to my wife, look, you're different. I'm different. This is how Allah built me. And no matter which guy you marry, sisters, they all have hormones in them. That's how they are. And guys, no matter which girl you marry, they all want to be social, especially with the people they feel comfortable with. You're not going to find a sister who doesn't talk.
Yeah.
At all. They're more introverts, but every sister likes to communicate.
Sure.
Is their building.
As we wrap up the podcast, how long does it take to set up a profile on Wahed&n?
So we didn't even get a chance to talk about Wahed&n, but I'll go quickly about Wahed&n. So a long time ago, I wanted to help people get married. A lot of times I travel doing stand-up shows. I finish the shows. I hang out with brothers like this, and they all talk about marriage. And eventually I told myself, I'm going to try to help find a way people get married because I got married. I found my other half. So I built a website called Wahed&n. And what makes it different than other websites is that we analyze your personality. We find out what you're attracted to. And we find out what you can tolerate in a marriage. And that makes it unique because a lot of people marry someone they're attracted to, but they can't tolerate that person. And this is why we end up in divorce. So what we try to do is say, look, you're attracted to this guy who's direct, but you're not attracted to the fact that he could be insensitive. But here's the reality. Guys who are direct most likely are going to be insensitive. A guy who's ambitious is not going to be laid back. So you can't, I want a guy who's ambitious and he's laid back. It doesn't work. So we teach them that this is what you're most compatible with. This is who they're compatible with. And this all comes together for Wahed&n. We have about 1,800 success stories. Every single profile you click on, it will analyze your profile versus their profile and tell you how this will work out or if it won't work out. And we have live events. And our live events are very unique. We don't do speed dating. We don't put a bunch of people in a room together and say, pretend musical chairs without the musical chairs. And we don't do that. We do something completely different. We do it by invitation only. Around 200 or 300 people apply per event. About 80 people to 100 people get in. So about 70%, 60 to 70% rejection rating. So people who are paying, I want to get in. I have $100. No. In fact, let's say an average event, let's say 300 people apply, 100 get in. If 200 people said no with $100 each, that's 20 grand I just said no to. I already got the venue. I already have the location. I just have to order a little bit more food. 20 grand? No? Yeah. I'll accept that 100 because I know those 200 people have no chance. Why don't they have a chance? Because every single person who applied for the event, we asked them, what's the oldest age you'll consider for marriage? And let's say the consensus for all the girls is 36 for a guy. Right? That's why you're 37?
37.
Oh, yeah. So let's say the consensus is 37. If you're 39, we're not letting you in the event. So the guy has money, he wants to come, but we're like, we're taking your money for the sake of taking it. We're not going to take it. So this is a test that we are constantly tested with, and we do have the temptation like everybody else does. But we're like, look, if we just take this money, then I have to answer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because I feel like I'm just taking for the sake of taking it. With those 100 that come, we can end up with 30 people as a match, 30 matches.
Allah preserve you guys for your
your
principles, man.
And but I tell you, bro, I took this to organizations. I showed them our step system. I said, look, no speed dating. We have a system of people like they do games. We do activities. We do team building. We do fun stuff that people are laughing out loud.
What kind of games? Like spin the bottle?
No, I was.
What's that?
Okay, brother, can you get the? Is that the bottle brother again? Please tell me.
Like, no wonder it's a private event.
Hey,
I brought my bottle.
Hey, it's a Zamzam bottle. It's a Zamzam bottle, okay?
Sorry, we didn't forgot, Your Holiness. Sorry. Go ahead.
Let him
Continue, man.
I mean,
So, well, we actually do activities and fun stuff. So, like, I'll do one activity where I put a bunch of people, I line them up and ask them tough questions, and make people go left if they think the one way, and go right if they think another way. We have, like, instead of doing the typical icebreaker, tell us a little about yourself, we do it differently. We say, hey, tell us something that's true and say something that's like a wish instead of a lie, and see if people can tell if that really happened or not. And almost every single time I started off, by the way, to give an example, majority, I would say 80% of the room guesses wrong. And I say, you judge a book by its cover, you will never go. I'd like give an example. Like, I'll say, okay, I walked into like Death Row Records or Interscope Records, and I said, I'm going to get a deal with you guys. I'm going to do all your printing. Or I went shark caging on the Gulf of Mexico and actually sat in a cage, and the sharks actually fed sharks on a Hawaiian vacation. Not Hawaiian vacation, a Mexican vacation. Of those two, which one do you think I did?
Death Row Records.
Yeah. Interscope. I walked in and says, you have a lot of balls to walk in here. Do you know? I like, well, I didn't know who they were. Like, who cares? And they said, you have a lot of guts. Sit down. And I got the deal. And I went home. I went back to my mom and dad, and we had a mom and dad print shop, and said, we have this new company called Interscope, and we're doing all their printing. And I walked in, and I have a whole bunch of stories, bro.
Oh,
if
wow.
I tell you things that happened to me, you would think it's unbelievable.
Alhamdulillah,
Insane,
from Allah, you know.
Bro, I know, bro. I can tell you the craziest stories have happened to me, and you're like, dude, this is crazy. This is crazy. Like, this is like crazy. Like, I tell people, like, no, you're making this up. I said, no, I can tell you famous things, and it's crazy. It's crazy.
I
We
got
want
crazy
to save a
idea.
podcast and show for next time.
idea. The other halfardeen.com, a cleaning company. How is it? That'll work, right?
Yeah,
So basically, what he's saying is he wants to know where the girls got rejected go to because he wants to go there.
no, he's talking about half your deans being cleanliness. He wants to clean. Say, have the cleaning company, half your dean. So we clean your.
That's actually pretty cool, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's actually pretty
It's
cool.
called the other halfardeen.com. Someone's gonna probably buy it right now, and it's gonna be a vacuuming place. We vacuum for you, brother.
You register at both websites, and you've completed your fate.
And we actually test the guy with the vacuum who checks his personality, but we have no idea why. It's just we're gonna check his personality. So what these people come to our event, and we have alhamdulillah really good response. And it's funny, we left one event. I remember one of the recent events in Toronto. We left, we pack up our stuff, we're taking our suitcase, and we're like, Assalamu alaikum, like, welcome, salam, and they're still at the event. The event is 5 hours long.
Wow.
And they're still at the event. So we tell something we're doing is right. So alhamdulillah, we made half our deen affordable, and we tell people there's two types of products. There's ones that are bought, there's ones that are sold. If the product sucks, we have to keep selling it and fast talking it. As in this podcast, I barely even talked about it. I just tell people, hey, go try it out because we want to make a product that's bought. So if the product's good, you're going to tell your friends. Now, if you go and search Google and type in the word Muslim matchmaking, Muslim marriage, you'll notice that all our competition comes up. There's not one half our deen ad. Go to Facebook, do a search, not one ad. Say, dude, how are you getting all these people to sign up? Because it works for them, and they tell their friends, and they tell their friends. And our booth, sister walks up to us. We met on half our deen. She has her husband. We have multiple people today. And then she says, I said, wow, you're the third person that walked up. He says, that's nothing. I know 6 people. My brother-in-law, my sister, and they're all married through your website. As soon as we got married, go join it. He got married. He got married. He got married. I'll do one last story. There's 2 people who walked into our Long Beach event. And we were about to start, and we're about to close the doors. Hey, are we late? I was like, dude, we're about to physically start. The girl's like, hey, I need to get in too. I don't know what table you guys are going to sit at. Can you guys just sit at this last table real quick until we get started, and I'll move you guys to the right table. Those 2 end up getting married.
Wow, subhanAllah.
So
that's crazy.
The last thing I'll mention before I get off, inshallah, is, and this is for everybody, listeners and you guys, one of the things I always make dua, I try to make constant dua for, is I'll ask Allah, bring me towards companions and projects to bring me closer to you, and take me away from companions and projects to take me away from you. Because sometimes I really, really want to do something, it doesn't work out. Sometimes I don't want it, it works out. One guy just asked me to be part of his movie. He asked me 6 times. On the 7th time, I said yes. No matter what I would say to him, he would not take no for an answer. And I know friends who are trying to get into movies, and I just got back from filming a movie that's like Muslim Home Alone. It'll be coming out early 2020, inshallah.
Really?
It's really, really funny. It's going to be coming out of Canada. It's hilarious, dude. Cool. There's been times...
Did you do this thing?
No. Well, we don't copy Home Alone. It's the same type of story of Home Alone. But I'm one of the bad guys. I have a 1950s East Coast accent. Yeah, the crazy guy. But he's already laughing because you can imagine my expressions and my face. And there's parts in the movie that cut. I mean, we can't even say the lines because everyone keeps laughing. The guy next to me is laughing. The cameraman starts laughing. The director starts laughing. Everyone's laughing. I'm like, dude. And I get frustrated. Can we just film this, like this one scene? It's that funny, dude. It's hilarious.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really good. It comes out early 2020. Early 2020, inshallah.
Do you have a name yet? Or you can't say yet?
I can't say it.
Okay.
Well, as soon
It's
as
a
it
working
comes
title.
out, we should have you on before that. As soon as it
Inshallah.
comes out, you should come on again to promote it, inshallah. I just want to say one thing. 'Cause
I just want
we're
free tickets.
I know we're almost out of time. I mean this seriously, dude. I learned a lot about you today. I respect you a lot, and I've never laughed during a podcast this much.
Alhamdulillah.
And I laughed so hard, my throat is almost. And I had a cold. I didn't have a cold. I had an allergy from this morning, and I completely forgot about it during this time. So I thank you so much.
I
man.
appreciate it,
It
bro.
was amazing.
And you guys saw it. I don't have any jokes.
No.
Like, you guys are laughing.
Yo,
It's
dude,
like,
dude,
I don't have jokes. I'm just like,
actions speak louder than words, son.
you guys got to hang out. You guys got to know who Baba Ali is.
Yeah.
This is me, man.
Yes.
So
The listeners don't see Baba Ali's facial expression.
That's why I said it for video. We got next time
Yeah.
video, and plus my
Yeah,
kids.
you
are
gotta
gonna
come
think I'm
to
cool
our
now 'cause I
new
had you.
studio.
Inshallah.
We were setting up a bona fide YouTube channel that'll be competing against some of the best channels out there, and hopefully, inshallah, next time you're in Chicago, I know you come out to Chicago quite often for like Mohsin fundraisers and things like that. And we'd love to have you come visit our
Totally, man.
facility.
I've done a bunch of podcasts, bro, and this is by far the most enjoyable one. You guys are.
You're not just saying that, are you?
No, I'm not.
Exactly.
Because
Just being nice,
no,
right?
because other other podcasters are listening. I thought we were the best.
You're not doing what women do, right? Just complimenting us for whatever. You're not doing what women do, right? Just complimenting us.
No, comment that. No. I really like your, but I really like your shirt, by the way. Actually, I do like your shirt.
Well,
It's
people
actually
know where to find you. You have FarD.com.
Yep.
And
We'll send you a shirt too,
Yeah, we want to
So-
appreciate again. Much thanks to Baba Ali for coming through on this late Saturday night.
What a
It's,
gentleman! What a gentleman!
Alhamdulillah.
You guys are awesome, man.
You know, if you want to learn more about the Mad Mamluks, you can go to our website, which is www.themadmamluks.com. That's TheMadMamluks. Info at themadmamluks.com is our email address. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. We're asking for 5-star reviews, right? I know you're like, don't subscribe. Subscribe on iTunes, Google Play.
Yeah, there's other false people who are trying to claim credit for the top Muslim podcast when they're not even.
They're not even Muslim.
Yeah, on Twitter.
It's true. There's a guy out there that's
Check out
Muslim
our
who's
Twitter
just
feed
taking
if you guys
people
want to check it out.
recording there.
And so, hey, you listeners, you guys gotta be up on there. You know, if he's using, I'm not gonna mention his name, but he's using a certain stat that iTunes uses, which shows like the amount of subscribers that increased in that particular week to measure how hot a podcast is. And based on that, he announced himself as a top Muslim podcast on all of iTunes.
It was funny because he said like, "Oh, I got 4,000 total downloads," and I was like, "Well, anyone who knows anything about podcasting knows that 4,000 isn't really that much." But I guess if you're dumb enough to follow a fake prophet, then you're dumb enough to think that 4,000 downloads makes you number one.
Yeah, check out our Twitter feed if you want to know that.
No filter, Mahin. I thought I was bad, but
Yeah, if you guys want to know the backstory, check out our Twitter feed and follow us on Twitter.
All right,
especially
again,
mine.
yeah, absolutely. So wrapping up here, again, Jazakallah khair, Baba Ali for coming through. For my co-host Sheikh Amr Saeed, Sim, Mort, I'm Mahin signing off for the Mad Mamluks. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.